Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome to the Gallant Horde. Today we will be playing the Siren. Our delightful adventurers will be heading off to Murterra to investigate a strange singer who's having weird effects on people. Before we do that, though, here are some announcements. The first thing is that we are partnered with Humble Bundle. You probably know that by now. Our bundle of the week this week is a Cthulhu bundle because Lionel, basically. If you have been anywhere near this community for more than 5 minutes, you are probably aware that Lionel has a small obsession. So we are just going to point you in the direction of some tentacles today. The bundle supports cancer research in the UK, so it's a very good cause. And it also supports us if you follow it through the link. So it's really a win-win, and it makes Lionel happy because the more tentacles, the better, I guess. Next week, instead of a horde game, there will be a Vampire the Masquerade game. Once again, DM'd by our very own Eldritch Horror, Lionel Blessing. We are taking every second week off to the end of the year because this time of year is a bit bonkers for us. There are many things that go on, she says with slight panic in her voice. So we're switching horde games to fortnightly until the end of the year, and then we'll go back to weekly in the new year. But yeah, in the meantime, you get to watch Lionel torture some people with vampires, I guess.
It's me and Nick and Kyle, so you're
Amazing.
gonna want to go.
Yep. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that next week. One of the many things that I'm doing at this time of year is Christmas. If you don't know about Christmas, it is a international secret Santa that I decided like 6 years ago now. Oh, how hard can this be? I'm good at spreadsheeting, and it became a international phenomenon. So the signups for that are currently open. It is Critical Role based, so if you are into Critical Role, check it out. We are on Facebook as Critter Gifting. You can find us there, or in our Discord, which if you're not in, you should be. Story of our life. It is a bit the story of our life. So yeah, speaking of Discord, we have a Discord. It's amazing. It's full of all sorts of cool, wonderful shit. The Gallant Horde section is full of loads of extra story. It's pretty much a 24-hour RP session. It's amazing. If you are a subscriber to our Twitch channel, you get access to all of that delicious story juice. So if you're not subscribing, hit the subscribe button and join us. Also, it is September, so if you do it this month, it's cheaper than usual. So do the thing. What have I missed? Oh, the other thing I've been doing recently is every 4 weeks I do a work table session, which is where I in Discord hang out with people who are patrons of any of our Patreons, and in our Discord, and we just kind of world build together. It's pretty fun. At the moment, we're working on an Elfian calendar, and filling it up with amazing festivals and weird shit. Jamie has had more than a normal input because,
it's fun. It's so fun.
Lore building is great. So yeah, if you would like to get involved in that, you just need to be a patron on any of our Patreons. It's literally $1 a month. We'll get you access to that. So, and then show up and we hang out and talk about Elfia and the world and make shit up about it. It's a lot of fun. I think that's everything. Oh, one more thing. At the end of this session in our Discord, for those of you who have access to our patron or Gallant Horde channels, we will be dropping our Gertrude level 5 art. I have been doing little pictures of the characters at level 5, and Adam's been editing them into speed draws. They do. Oh, look, there's Dalia. They do end up on our YouTube channel, but if you want early access, you need to be in one of those places. Okay, I think that's all my announcements for the day. Gonna get you all to introduce yourselves. And
the giveaway?
We'll do that at the break.
Oh, we do that at the break. Okay, sorry.
Calm your tits.
I'm excited.
Will's in charge of our giveaway today. We'll tell you about that at the break. I'm glad you're excited, though. That's cool. I will get you all to introduce yourselves and your characters, and then we'll get into it. Starting with Will.
Hey guys, I'm Will, and I play S02M24, the rock and roll bard.
Awesome. Jamie.
Hi, yes, I'm Jamie. I play Bergamot, the druid elf, and she is gonna absolutely hate this mission.
Because big city.
Yeah.
Kit.
I'm Kit, and I'm playing Dalia Bonchance, who is a witch who follows fate, and she has a little fluffy ginger cat who is her familiar name, Lucky.
Excellent. Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm playing Gertrude B. Biscuit, a little old lady halfling witch who gets her power from her son. That got found out. And
Honey
familiar,
biscuit.
that's the word. No, I forgot the word for familiar this time. Is a talkative bee named Honey Biscuit.
Amazing. Shawnali.
Hello, I play Loralai Hexer, the Death Cleric. I'm very excited.
Yay. And Rob.
I'm Rob, and I play Orvis Hard Trader, and he's a wizard, upling, and he's the baby on this mission.
He is the baby on this mission. I'm sure he won't die. It'll be fine. Okay, and I am Jax, if you don't know that, and I play everybody else. Pretty much. Your potion of resistance today is cold, so if the chat give you a potion of resistance, it is cold damage that you will be resistant to. All right. Well, let us jump right into the story. You have been asked to go to Merterra and investigate a singer who has been basically, she has really popular shows, and then people do weird shit after her shows. That's about as much as you know, really. You know that you've been given a contact, Megrana Copperpot, who is the proprietor of the Golden Goose, which is a tavern in Merterra, one of many taverns in Merterra, and she will put you in touch with a very mysterious and secretive client who has not given you. You haven't been given any information about the client yet, except that she is willing to pay you a fairly large amount of gold to solve her problem. Possibly the biggest amount of gold of any mission so far. This is clearly a very wealthy individual. Andeline has told you that she can get you to Merterra with the help of Zora, and but you will have to find your own way back because Zora can teleport you in as a special favor to Andeline, but it is an expensive and it's not easy magic. It's expensive, so that's where we're at. Andeline has asked you to meet her on the roof of the guild, which is where there is a teleportation circle that has never been used by a guild member until today.
Trendsetters.
So, is there anything anyone wants to do before you head up to the roof today? Or to mention that you've done, just for
I would like to mention that Bergamot was feeling particularly spicy, so she turned into a sheep and was just walking around just outside the paddocks of sheep to make the farmers think that someone escaped.
Okay then. just for the hell of it.
Just for the hell of it. And then she'd run away and then turn it back into herself when she goes around the corner.
Before this, Gertie the usual travel snacks that she always makes for the group. And she's going to, after they teleport there, like as soon as they get there, she's going to cast Mage Armor on herself.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Orvis likewise will be casting Mage Armor on landing.
Okay. Alrighty. So you all head up to the roof. Andeline is up there waiting. She says, "Good morning. You all ready to go?"
Ready.
Have any of you teleported before?
No.
Oh, that's what I did do. I brought ginger from my spice cabinet because we were warned by Elzarin that we should have ginger or orange slices, and I didn't go buy oranges. But I do have ginger in the form of powdered ginger, and I wasn't sure what he meant, so it's just a little canister of powdered ginger.
Of ginger powder. Right. I feel like that's not going to help as much as you think it is, but okay. Cool. All right. She looks around and she goes, all right, well, it can take people a little strangely the first time, so, just be prepared for that. If you've ever gone over a hill really fast on a vehicle, it feels like that, but turned right up. Anyway, Zora should be here and before she's even finished the sentence, the runes of the teleportation circle flare, and Zora appears in the middle of it. And if you're watching, Andaline's face just softens very slightly just for a second, and then she's like back to her professional face. And Zora walks over to her and like takes her hand and is like, hello, and they like greet each other with kisses and all that stuff. Loralai loses her mind, no doubt. It's very like this is a couple that have been together for a long time. Like that's how they're, and they haven't seen each other for a bit. And then she turns and she goes, well, are we ready to go?
Yes.
Ready.
Yep.
All right, I will need you all to stand inside the circle, please.
Bergamot's gonna
Okay.
step into the circle.
Okay. Zora kind of kisses Andaline on the cheek and says, I'll try to get back soon, and steps back into the circle again. Andaline kind of waves, and Zora holds a gem in her hands, and says some magic things, and then drops the gem, and it smashes, and the circle flares up, and you all are teleported. It feels like you leave your stomach behind. It's a very like abrupt, weird feeling, but it's very quick. Like there's a moment of like weightlessness and weird kind of what is happening, and then you kind of land again. Can I get fortitude saves from everyone, please?
Oh dear.
Oh.
Easy. 27.
Bergamot's fine. What else?
30.
30.
She's a tough old lady.
Gertrude's fine. What did you say? 16?
Yeah.
Okay. You feel a little bit like unsteady on your feet, but you don't throw up, so that's nice.
13.
29.
29 for Dalia. Dalia's fine. 13 for Orvis, much the same. It's very discombobulating. You kind of stagger as you land. Like it feels super weird, but you also keep your stomach inside your stomach.
I had a 20 total. I rolled a 4, but luckily my plus is very good.
All right, Loralai, you're okay. It's not a comfortable feeling, but you're fine. Zora looks around and goes, everyone all right? I know the first time can be a little strange.
Yep.
Fantastic.
All right.
That was a very intriguing one.
You are inside a large stone room. There's not much else in the room apart from the circle. It has one door. Zora kind of turns to you all and goes, okay, so this is the Magus Gamana. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is a magical school, an institution, right?
One of the top in the country.
The top in the country.
Yes.
It would be very helpful if you just kept your mouths shut and your hands to yourselves as we move through this place, because, well, people are not generally very comfortable with outsiders. I've had to pull some strings to get you here, and I would appreciate that you not, well, burn my strings.
That's all right. We have no business here, so we'll just
Excellent.
make a quick exit.
I will escort you to the exit.
Axel turns the volume on his guitar all the way down.
Dalia's going to tell Zara how much they appreciate, that she knows she's helped them before, and just really like, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This would have taken us so long.
It's fine. Unfortunately, it's not something I can do all the time, but on this occasion, I could make it work. All right, follow me. And she leads you through the door, and you realize you go down a lot of spiral stairs, and you realize that you're up in a tower. But she leads you down these stairs and like through the place, and it's very old school university. Like there's a lot of people studying things, and you walk past rooms that are obviously study rooms that have students in them with books piled up to on either side of them, and it's very quiet. Beautiful in a very ivory tower kind of way. Bergamot probably is in heaven right now.
Yeah, she's currently walking. She's walking around like this, just looking at everything.
Go ahead, Gertrude. Were you going to say something? So yeah, and she leads you through this place and then out through a courtyard. The courtyard is beautiful. There's like trees and flowers, and the sun is shining down. And it's hot, by the way. It's pretty fucking hot today. We're getting towards the burn. Like the burn is coming up in a few weeks' time. It is warm, and Circle Creek was there was a nice cool breeze. Merterra is also humid because it's coastal, so it's not pleasant for those of you who are not used to this kind of weather. But she leads you through the courtyard. There are students like sitting on the grass, and there's like a big gateway, and she leads you through the gateway and goes, "Well, thank you. You all behaved exceptionally well. Good luck."
Zora, just
Yes.
2 quick questions.
Mhm.
3 actually. I'm so sorry. A, do you have any apprentices that can also teleport that are looking for new friends? We are very interested in applications, just so you know.
Teleportation is difficult and expensive magic.
Yeah.
Apprentices are usually not able to do it.
Classes, okay.
Also, the use of our teleportation circle is fairly limited to staff members.
Okay. The second is, do you know if there is a temple to Olulula? I hope I said that right. In this city.
I don't pay a lot of attention to deity things, but there are several temples in the city. Not as many as Aldercastle, of course, but there are some. It's entirely possible. Perhaps you could ask around in the city?
At a temple, probably, yeah. Okay, and the third question, final, I'm so sorry. What direction is the Golden Goose?
Oh, of course. You're unfamiliar with Merterra. I forget that people don't just know their way around. She gives you directions to the Golden Goose.
Curtsy. Thank you. Dankeschön.
Is that all? Excellent. Best of luck. I have a lot of work to do. And she kind of pushes you out, closes the doors, and disappears. And you find yourselves at the entrance to the Mega Scamana, looking out over Merterra, which is a port city. So it's like kind of built around a bay, like a harbor. And it's extremely cosmopolitan. There's a lot of everything in Merterra, basically. The area you're in right now is quite nice. Like the Mega Scamana obviously have resources. So the area you're in now is fairly nice, but it's very clear. Just you're kind of elevated where you are, and you can look out over the city, and it's very clear that there are bits of it that are nice, and there are bits of it that are less nice.
Are the streets all like cobblestoned?
Yeah.
Wow, this is fancy stuff. I am
And
unfamiliar
it's
with
huge.
this.
Like from Loralai's point of view, it is the biggest place she's ever been. Like you can't see the end of the buildings. It's big. I think the rest of you have all at some point been in a big city. So it's not so surprising for you, but Lorelai's a farm girl.
I did not know buildings could be built so high. It is a feat of engineering. Wow.
I mean, yeah, I
we had-
suppose.
we had
Makes a lot of
tavern.
stairs, though.
Gertrude, can I hold your hand?
Yeah. Also, Gertrude would open up her little food basket that she has and let Honey Biscuit out. He wasn't allowed in the to
Fair
walk
enough.
around in the
Yep.
thing.
Fair enough. Cool. All right. So what are we doing?
To the Golden Goose.
To the Golden Goosey.
Talia starts walking, following the directions.
Who is leading the thing to get to the Golden Goose?
Not me.
Yeah, not
Sure,
me.
I will.
This is gonna hang in the middle of the pack.
Would
Axel
that be like
can.
a society thing?
Well, you're following instructions. I'm gonna just say survival in the sense that you're following instructions. But Axel, given that you have spent a lot of time in Elder Castle, and so you're familiar with like cities and following instructions around cities, I will adjust the DC accordingly.
Do you want a survival roll?
Yes.
Not society.
Nope.
Oh, it's 27.
Yeah, you're fine. You follow the instructions perfectly well. She gave you good instructions. And as you move through the city, it becomes very apparent to you that this is an incredibly cosmopolitan place. There are pretty much any kind of people you can imagine are in Murterra. It's very mixed. There's a lot of like there's pretty much no segregation of any kind, except kind of class. Like there's definitely, this is the wealthy section and this is the not wealthy section, but in terms of the kinds of people you see in those sections, very mixed. Loralai?
Two things. First is a kind of vibe question of the area. Is it a very colorful city, or are we looking at neutral tone city, or are we looking at like one of those ocean fronts with all the bright colors? Like which?
It's very colorful and very like miscellaneous in terms of like architecture. There's all different kinds of architecture. It's like people have gathered here from all over the world, and they have built in ways that suit their temperaments.
Okay. And then
We're
the second thing,
Bangkok people.
Yeah, pretty much.
and then the second thing is, my father used to tell me that big cities are where like people steal money right out of your pocket and you don't even know that it's happened. So one hand she has Gertrude's hand, and in the other hand she's holding the mummified elf hand on her belt. And she's using Mage Hand to constantly swat at her belt so nobody can take things from her.
Amazing. Okay.
I'd like to say that along this entire walk, Bergamot's just going, and did you see the desks they had? And it was like incredible. They had the different angles, and oh my goodness.
You should probably tell Baza about all the desks. He would be very interested.
Oh yeah, no, he'd be really intrigued. I'm sure they're made of a really. Maybe they're enchanted. That'd be incredible.
Oh my god.
This is crazy.
As you move through the city towards the Golden Goose, the area you're moving through becomes less affluent. The roads become a bit narrower. The buildings are like higher and built closer together. The Golden Goose is a fairly well-known but not exactly upmarket place. And yeah, you eventually find your way there. It's a nice tavern, like it's nice, but it's not, fancy at all. You
I
are there.
guess we go inside and see if we can find this Morgana person.
Okay. So you go into the Golden Goose. The clientele of the Golden Goose there's a lot of people in dark corners wearing hoods. There are several groups of extremely nautical looking folk, of varying degrees of savouriness. And behind the bar there is a halfling woman with bright red hair that she wears in like braids down her and she looks up as you walk in with the look of someone who is like, wow, they're sure out of place.
Bergamot takes a deep breath before walking inside.
It's fairly dim, like it's definitely not kept light. She knows who her clientele are.
Axel's right at home.
Yeah. This is Axel's kind of place.
Axel's just like not even registering. Yeah. He's just like, yeah, this is perfectly normal. He'll sidle up to the bar and order a beer first and foremost.
Okay.
And just casually sort of say we're looking for, is it Morgana or Megrana?
Megrana.
Meg Ryan Anna. Meg Ryan. Okay.
Megrana.
Sleepless in Matera. He'll ask, are you Megrana?
Sure am. Who's asking?
My name is Axel. We've been sent here from Circle Creek.
So you're Andaline's people, I see.
Correct.
Well, don't you all just stick out like sore thumbs. This is going to be great. Did you want to eat, or do you want to just go to a back room while I call my client?
Has Axel got his beer?
Oh, yeah. They're like 5 silver here.
Right. 5 silver.
The beer is not as good. But
I know where the after party's going to be. Back room.
Sure thing.
Yep. Let's do it.
I'll have to send a message now that you're here, so there may be some time. But you'll
That's cool.
hang out.
I've got some questions for you anyway.
Oh,
to pass the time.
Do you? Awesome. I'm so excited about that. If you have questions, are they like backroom questions, or are they questions we can do here?
Back room, please.
Okay. Please hold. And she like calls out, and there's like a half-orc guy working there, and she like calls him over, puts him in charge of the bar. All right, come on then. And she jumps off the stool she was standing on to be tall enough to work the bar, and leads you into like a back room. This room is clearly used for backroom things. It's got a table and some chairs, and there's like a little kind of, essentially a liquor cabinet. And she goes, please sit. I'll be right back. I'm going to just go and let the client know that you're here. Don't touch my cabinet. I'll know. And she walks out, leaving you there.
Why are there so many people of shady imagery just sitting in one place?
Because that's what this place is for.
This is where business gets done.
Whole places? With Thomases and Elzerans? That is a lot.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more morally ambiguous than Thomas and I.
Did you see all the Jacksons?
A few Jacksons too, you are correct. Wow.
There was, by the way, absolutely at one of the tables, a tall, dark-skinned, half-elven, nautical woman and a blue just sitting there, having a beer.
If a moth comes out of there just to smooch a dark-skinned elf, I'll cry.
Bergamot would like to not touch, but look over the cabinet because she says that she would know if we touched it, so she wants to check to see if it's enchanted.
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. 26.
Yeah, there's like a simple kind of alarm sort of thing on it that is it's the magic version of leaving a hair, you know.
Yeah.
Like it won't go off, it won't make a noise, but she'll know.
It's do you think there's some really tasty liquor in here or something?
I suppose
so.
it depends what you what you think is tasty.
That's true. She's just going to go and sit down. What does it smell like in here?
Old
Stale
beer.
She just kind of wrinkles her nose.
Yeah, it's not great.
She's probably
It
just going to
smells
dig
like
in.
dive bar is what it smells like.
She's going to dig into one of her pouches and pull out a bunch of dried herbs and just kind of.
Like it's not horrible, but it's definitely not, you know, nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
For the record, Will's also in his element in this place. This is my sort of pace.
Jax has been in more than one place like this too. Anyway, in her wayward youth. After like 5 minutes or so, Megrana comes back, takes a seat, and goes, "Right, so you have questions, huh? Hit me." Not literally.
Literally. Do you know why we're here?
Yep, sure do.
What's your take on this? Have we been given the singer's name yet?
I don't think so. You've just been told
okay.
there is a singer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because it has been written down places. But what do you know about the singer?
Loralai Moonsong. She's very good. She sings at the Gilded Dragon, and until about a month ago, no one knew anything about her. She did not exist. Suddenly, she appears out of nowhere. Real fucking popular. Everybody wants to see her sing. Everybody goes to see her sing. Some weird shit happens. Mostly people don't care, because this is Murterra. Weird shit happens here all the time. But then weird shit happened to the wrong person. And suddenly people care. You know how it is.
I do.
Weird shit happens to particular people, everybody cares.
What's the Gilded Dragon like?
It's, you know, slightly upmarket, wants to be more upmarket than it is. Nice enough place. It's run by one, please hold, Torak Marblebeard. He's dwarf. He's a decent enough bloke, you know. He's not a bad guy. It's fine.
If there was something nefarious going on with this singer, do you think he would be involved?
I'd be surprised. Honestly, between you and me, I don't think he's smart enough.
Who was the person who made people care?
Well, I'll leave that to my client. Your client now. It's her husband.
That is dramatic.
The defense rests.
No further questions, Your Honor. Was there anything else?
No, I think we'll just wait for this. Oh, sorry, Loralai.
Well, what made her come to you to come to Angeline to come to us? I suppose is the question.
Well, you see, your client and her husband are movers and shakers in Murterra. They're upper echelon. You know what I'm saying? Live in a nice house, have a big business, that kind of thing. They're the sort of people who, when there are problems, They like their problems to be solved discreetly. And solving problems discreetly is one of the things I do best. And
Out of towners. Okay.
I knew that Angeline has this fancy new guild. Sent a couple of people up to her even. And I thought maybe she would have some people who could solve this that wouldn't be sticking around for too long. Sometimes that's what you need. That way, if people come asking questions, the people with the answers to the questions are long gone, and I can't possibly tell you where they went. You know what I'm saying?
I think I read a book like this once.
Oh, honey. Well, if there's nothing else, I might just head on out until she. Oh, wait, one moment. She's here, and like it's like she just knows. She goes out and she comes back in, and with her is a very tall, kind of humanoid person, but she's wearing like a huge, like a hood that's completely covers her face, like it's one of those kind of. It's nice though. It's far too nice for this place, and like a cloak that drops all the way to the ground, and she walks in behind Meg, and Meg turns around and goes, well, here's your client, ladies and gents. Good luck. And she leaves and closes the door behind her, and this woman pushes her cloak back, and you see a beautiful, she looks humanish but just a little bit too symmetrical. Doesn't have like elf ears, looks human, but is very symmetrical, very beautiful. She has extremely red hair that is tied back in a braid, and she and like unnervingly green eyes. And she kind of walks over and sort of dusts off a chair and then sits and goes, well, hello. I am Josashi Ray. Those of you, probably Askel and Dalia. Orvis, where are you from?
Good question.
Are you from Althea, or did we put you from somewhere else? Okay.
Yeah.
So Orvis,
No fixed abode.
Askel, and Dalia, can you make a society check, please?
Oh, yes, please. $22.
Dalia? You're muted.
17. I rolled a 2.
Okay. Orvis?
27.
All right. Askel and Dalia, you've kind of heard the name Ray. Orvis, you know that these people are in imports and exports. Mostly legit imports and exports as far as you know, but they're yeah. So Josashi Ray is her name, Ray, R-E-I. And she says, I am led to understand that you are discreet and will be able to resolve this without undue information leaking out. You have questions already, or do you wish to hear my story first?
Let's go with the story.
Well, my husband, Arrow, and I have lived in Merterra for a long time. We have built a very successful and expansive business here. He is hardworking and very driven. Until last week. No, 2 weeks ago now. We went to watch this new singer. Everybody is talking about her. And then we went home afterwards, and Arrow decided to become an artist. Just like that. He was going to quit his business, stop doing what he's done for the last, well, several decades, and become an artist. Now, you must understand that I realize that many people may think this is just some sort of, I don't know.
Whim? Fad?
Yes, but he has been driven to excellence in his chosen field for as long as I have known him. This is extremely out of character, and I believe that there is something magical going on here.
And this isn't an isolated case, is it? There's other people have been
Well,
affected.
this is what I have come to learn. I started out by going to those of a more magical persuasion. They studied him, interviewed him, and were led to believe that there is some sort of charm on him. They also told me that they believe it to be fiendish in origin. I don't know.
They're not able to break the spell on him, or have they tried to?
No, they say that it is the source is elsewhere. I cannot send the people I have of that sort in after the source without it drawing attention. And I would prefer not to draw attention.
Do you know where the source is?
Well, I believe it to be the singer. And when I came to Megrana, she told me that there have been other situations. Now, I can pay you very well, but I require discretion, and I require my husband to be himself again. These two conditions are met, and my name is nowhere near the solution, then you will get your gold.
When you say to solve the problem, would you like the singer to go away, or just the magic to stop?
I would like my husband to be himself again, and I would like no further repeats of this happening to people I care about.
Ma'am, have they already crossed off the list a curse? Specifically, curse?
All they could tell me was that it was fiendish in origin and it did not originate within him, which meant that they could not solve it without dealing with the source of the problem.
Yes. Okay. And once we have taken care of the issue at hand, are we to meet you back here?
If you are able to fulfill my two conditions, you will be paid here.
Bergamot would like to do an occultism check to see if she can remember any sort of like whether or not this kind of thing is something in which, like, say, a fiendish cult would try and start up as like at the beginning of something bigger.
Yep.
That was terrible. I'm going to use my inspiration to reroll that, actually.
Okay.
Here we go. Slightly better. 22.
Potentially, like it would. I guess what Bergamot would know is that cults, especially fiendish cults, will sometimes either target powerful people in order to gain power themselves, or just in order to upheave the status quo. But the fact that this has clearly happened to people who are not in that strata makes it feel like it might be a bit more random than that.
Okay. This doesn't sound like it's any bigger plan unless it's a really, really long plan. We're probably just dealing with 1 or 2 individuals, would be my guess.
Did you need anything more from me at this time?
Other than your husband's sudden artistic endeavors, is he seeming okay?
I mean, he's physically well, if that is what you mean.
Yes, he's not like bedridden if he is not painting or something.
Well, no, but he's also not. All he does is paint. It's like a mania. It's like he cannot imagine anything else being worth doing.
And this might sound like a strange question, but are the paintings good?
I mean,
Like, if he was not a painter before and suddenly he is driven to paint and they are also very good, that would be strange.
they are all right. He's not suddenly super skilled, if that's what you mean. They're getting better because he does it all the time. Kit, sorry, I just saw your finger.
Does he have any marks, or does he have anything new from when you went to see the singer? Does he look any different? Anything, a possession, an item, that anything like that?
No, he seems to be physically exactly as he was. He's just obsessed.
And are there any other reports of these sort of things happening, or are they all just very strange and unique?
Well, to be honest with you, I am mostly only concerned with my own problem. But Meg has told me that there have been other strange incidents. Apparently one woman just walked into the sea. Just walked into the sea. And there was a case of someone who randomly just fell head over heels madly in love with the person next to them, someone they had never seen before. Things of that nature.
Much more chaotic than...
Very random.
Does that sound like any kind of spell that Dalia's ever heard of before?
You can make an Arcana check.
24.
Not specifically, but you would know that there are spells because you probably even have a few that can have a massive impact on people's emotional state. And that can influence the way they interact with the world on an emotional level, which at least those two sound a bit like it's something like that. Like it's definitely feeding some sort of emotional, and honestly, even the artist thing is feeding some sort of emotional thing. But no specific spell that does those specific things, if that makes sense. Gertrude.
Because it's her thing. Is there like a fairy tale or anything that sounds similar to this?
You can make some. Do you have a fairy tale lore?
Oh, but I have like a cult and society. One of those, maybe.
Okay, just make a. I'm gonna say wisdom check, and I'll take your fairy tale stuff into account.
12.
Not specifically, no. Was there anything else you needed from me at this time? I would prefer not to hang around here too long if possible.
I think that's probably given us enough to go on. Thank you.
Well, Meg knows how to reach me if required.
I mean, we're going to have to do our business and then obviously check your husband to see that he's right.
Megrana knows how to reach me if required. Well, I hope never to see any of you again. I say that with the best intentions. And she gets up, puts her hood back on, and walks out unless you have anything else you want to talk to her about.
we should wait a minute. Just let her get out, so we don't walk right behind her.
Well, we may want to speak for a couple minutes before we leave. I don't know about the rest of you, but it looks like perhaps we are going to see a show tonight, if possible.
Yep.
Wait, is that a good idea?
I had an idea. I had an idea about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe we should try and get
An opening act?
Well, I was thinking more maybe we head on down to the Gilded Dragon and see if we can talk to this Loralai backstage perhaps, and maybe she'd want a guitarist from Castle who knows the movers and shakers up there. They could get her potentially, we could say we've heard about her and that we're from Castle and we're looking for acts and we know promoters, and I might want to jump up on stage and see if we vibe together. And then we could potentially see about her coming up to Castle, and you guys picking up what I'm putting down.
Yes.
Yeah, but to what end?
Well, we can observe what's going on from a safe, if we're backstage. Presumably, she's targeting people in the audience.
It might not be targeted.
Yeah, if it's more random, then they're all
Good
still susceptible.
So I like this line of thinking, but one, we don't know it's actually her. It could be somebody using her as a way to cover up what's going on, somebody in the crowd. Also, if we're anywhere near, we become targets, and something like this could happen to us, and we would be down one. So maybe not be there when she performs is probably the better idea, unless we have it should be like a last option. At least that's what I think.
I was just kind of thinking if we were friends rather than enemies, and it is targeted, but you guys know a lot more about magic than I do, so that was just my thought.
Combining those ideas, if we talk to her before the show, posing us as an agent or something that could offer her a bigger audience, someone who, if she's doing it deliberately, she might be quite intrigued by a larger audience.
And if we talk to her beforehand, we can see if there's any, magical items or something. We can do some investigation before the actual performance. I think would be good to gather some info like that.
Might also, like Gertrude says, might also expose if she's got an entourage, and maybe that person, if it is a third party.
If they're singing at that tavern or whatever it is, would they have a room there? Because it might be a good idea to check their room for any sort of evidence in regards to this. If it's fiendish in origin, then it will probably have a very obvious telltale sign left behind.
Loralai, you had a thing?
Oh, just that if it is entouraging that we are doing, I am not sure. I'm a bad liar. And I'm a thumb that is sore. So I am very afraid that I will be a hindrance to your plan.
Security?
Loralai, we could go and try and find her room and check it.
I'm also very not sneaky.
We don't have to be. I mean, I can turn into something and get through the door and such. It's just an extra pair of eyes might help with actually checking the area.
Yeah.
Me and you can hang out outside and just keep an eye outside. And if needed, Honey Biscuit can go with Bergamot to check the room, and then you could just be there to hold my hand when I look through.
Are we suspicious? Just a tiny old lady and her fiendish friend, maybe standing outside of a parlor.
To be fair, this whole city is full of very different people, so
It's a port city.
Like,
You get all kinds of
yeah,
people.
but
Loralai's not used to that. She doesn't know beans. I just don't want to make you all fail at your assigned tasks.
at this point, Meg comes in, and she looks around and she goes, "Well, so Jasashi Ray, big time."
Is she?
I've
She
heard of
sure
her before.
is. Yep.
Do you think she has some sort of illusion magic for that whole face thing?
What whole face thing, dear?
I think that's just her face.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with her face? I'm confused.
Oh, she's a bit of a stunner, I think, is what Bergamot's alluding to.
Well, some people are just really beautiful. Have you never seen anyone beautiful before? That's weird.
Oh, yes, no, plenty. It's just that there's a lot of people who also like to use magic to hide the truth.
Oh, you think Jasashi's secretly real ugly and is just using magic to make herself beautiful?
I don't think she was saying that. It's hot. It's hot in here.
I'm just...
I mean, you could be right. She's very rich. It's possible. I don't really care.
I don't know. It's just something about the green eyes that kind of just...
Oh, well, I mean,
I don't know.
they're not humans. The Rays are not humans. I think the eyes are just part of the whole, Kitsune thing.
That would make more sense, yes.
That is why they are so hot. Okay.
Right, so we're thinking, do you want to be here while we discuss this?
Oh, I was just coming to see how much longer you needed the room. Only I've got a bunch of card players that are keen on this room.
Oh. Be out soon?
Do you know
Dalia?
someone over at the something dragon, wherever we're going, that we could, is somebody who works there that we could approach in a business manner?
I mean,
like a manager
you
or
should probably talk to Torek.
Torek? Okay. He's the there's no manager, he's just the owner, and we just go right to him if we want to talk business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know if Loralai is staying at the Gilded Dragon or if she's residing elsewhere?
Oh no, she's definitely staying there. She hardly ever leaves the place.
That's going to narrow down finding her room in this city of bazillion rooms.
Yeah, my understanding is she stays there and she goes for a walk to the docks once a day. And apart from that, she is in the dragon.
What time is this walk normally? Is it a regular time?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Dalia,
some sailor types in the bar that we could probably ask, if they've seen her acting out.
Kid just wants an excuse to talk to. I mean, sure. They're probably not going to just help you for free, but feel free to talk to whoever you want. Carefully.
Yeah, I think we keep this to ourselves as much as we can.
We can perhaps observe from a distance if we want to know when she leaves the building.
Oh, well, should we go to the Gilded Dragon and try and get a gig?
Yeah, also maybe a room because we are staying here tonight.
Oh, you're staying there. I see. Okay.
No,
Cool.
In
No,
the
that's
city,
fine.
it is
That's fine.
just an inquiry. I'm sorry. I'm just very hot and out of place. I'm so sorry.
I think what my family friend was trying to say is, would you have rooms available at this fine establishment that we could rent for tonight?
Oh, you want to stay here, not at the Dragon? Are you sure about that? I know
I-
that the
I-
Dragon's rooms are much nicer and have very fancy beds for everyone and all that jazz.
Do your rooms not have beds?
I mean, obviously they have beds. I was just.
What would your rooms cost for the night? I'm quite happy with this establishment. I think it's grand.
For you, a very special price of 5 silver per person. Per night.
I really want to insight check that.
Anyone would know to inside check that.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I wish I
Also,
could.
inside checks are not a thing in Pathfinder.
Yeah. Oh.
I could give you 2 rooms. You'll have to share.
Cool.
Sure.
Done.
Excellent. I would like payment up front for the first night in case you all die, and I've kept the room empty for you.
Gertrude hands a gold over. She doesn't care.
Cool.
I mean, very well's going to hand a gold over, but that's because she doesn't have any smaller change.
That's fair. That's 1 more gold and you're good for the night.
Axel's gonna hand over 5 gold and say that's to cover my other expenses, and we'll just sort it out when we leave, eh?
Fair enough.
And he's gonna give the nod like he knows what's up.
Yeah. She's got your number too. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. This guy knows how this place works. Right. So how long do you need the room for?
Let's start with one night and we'll see.
No, I
how...
meant this room. This room
Oh,
that you're in right now.
We're good to go. We're leaving it. Can you tell us how to get to the Gilded Dragon?
Sure thing.
Practice, man, practice. No.
She gives you directions to the Gilded Dragon. It is in a slightly better part of town than the Golden Goose.
Cool. I guess we take a walk.
Good luck.
Thank you.
As you leave, she ushers in a bunch of very shady-looking card players.
So as we're walking, obviously.
So you're outside now. You've left the Golden Goose.
Yes.
That's the question. Yes? Okay, cool.
Yes.
So our plan is to go in there, talk with some people, maybe find out her schedule, and then sneak into her room and check things.
I think we need to sort out when these walks to the docks happen, because that's.
Well, that'll make it easier to sneak in if she's not there.
Oh yeah, but also is she meeting someone or undergoing some other influence?
That's a good idea.
I'm not super keen on breaking and entering, but perhaps if there was some form of, other things going on whilst that is happening for the people who can change themselves into snakes and whatnot.
Are there any like water-based fiend entities that we may have heard of?
You can make an occultism check.
$27.
Not exactly. I mean, I suppose there probably are water-based fiends, but there are water-based beings tend to be more elemental than fiend. Fiends are usually more associated with particular attributes, by which I mean like pride or anger or war or like attributes rather than elemental. But there are elemental beings. Those definitely exist. And you would have heard of them. you would honestly, if you look around, you can probably see a few because this is Murterra. And Murterra has all kinds. Yes.
Can Askel do a recall knowledge using music lore to see if he has ever heard of anything like this in his musical studies or experience with musicians and things like that?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. 23. Music lore.
So Askel has spent a lot of time in the dodgier parts of the music world. In Elder Castle largely, but he knows from his own experience that you can use music for magical purposes. That is the thing, and that can be a charm-based thing. He would also have heard stories about people making unwise deals with fiends and fae and beings of that nature for musical prowess. You know, the crossroads kind of thing. He definitely would know that that is a thing that happens and has happened. He would also know that it doesn't usually end well for the musician eventually, but there is sometimes a period of great fame and exceptional ability. That is a thing that some musicians do.
Selling your soul for rock and roll.
Pretty much. And that there are beings that would make those kinds of deals.
And does he know the motivation for the beings who make those deals? Like, are they just doing it to chaos the world, or
it would vary
is it just
depending on
shits and giggles, or
it would vary. It would depend on the specific entity and what they were after, and also what kind of deal the musician was willing to make. So it would vary.
So on the walk to the Gilded Dragon, Golden Goose Gilded Dragon, Askel's going to be like, so here's what I know. Blah, 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 to anyone who will listen, and basically explain that whole thing that you just said.
You know what I'm talking about? Those stories, like
yeah,
and like, you know,
like someone's not very good, and then they
are suddenly very good.
Yeah, and then Askel's never had to do that because he's just good.
Loralai.
I would like to kind of do the walking at the back of the group, and because the streets are busy and full of people, I would like to hear what the other people are talking about.
Okay, make a perception check.
I am just curious. Ooh, 26?
I mean, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Gossip, small talk. I just need to get one more pair of shoes and then we can go home. I couldn't believe when I heard that she had hooked up with him. People stuff. Just, you know, shit people talk about as they walk in the street.
And they were roommates.
All kinds of bits and pieces.
To the person with the shoes, Loralai would just look at and say, "Oh, but those ones are very nice," and point at a fancy pair in a window, and keep going.
Loralai gets a weird look. Was I talking to you? Gertrude, did you have something?
Gertie would just, after she does it, be like, city people don't really like it when you talk to them and they don't know you. They think it's weird and rude. That's why I don't come here.
Dalia.
Is anybody paying particular attention to us as we go by?
Not at all.
Not at all? Okay.
Like, there's a little bit of country bumpkin going on, but for the most part, there are so many different kinds of people here, and so many, like, everybody's just worried about their own stuff. They don't give a shit about you.
Okay, because Meg said we stood out. when we walked in the bar. So
You stood out in the Golden Goose. Yeah. Because it's a very particular sort of place, and you are not those kinds of people. But yeah, but no, on the streets of Murterra, you're just another bunch of fucklechucks.
Weirdos. Is anyone paying attention to the pink girl with the massive scythe?
Not at all. The
Yeah.
pink girl with the massive scythe is not even the only pink girl. Like, yeah.
I am perfectly normal.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Murterra, in Murterra, it really doesn't matter what you look like because they're yeah. It's like Cuba Street. No one cares.
Only a handful of people are going to get that.
I know. I don't care. 3 of them are in this game.
But like I said, fantasy Bangkok, man.
Yeah.
See, I was en route to a few places, but I don't know. So we
I'm
just
sure
are
every
walking.
country has a couple of cities like this that are just like it doesn't matter. Yeah. Yep. So are you doing anything as you walk to the Gilded Dragon? I would say that at the moment it's like lunchtime, like it's, early afternoon.
I am sweating because it is very humid.
It is very humid. And it's hot because it's a city.
Well, also it's like 37 today in Circle Creek, which means it's probably hotter here.
Yep. And it's humid because it's right by the sea. Like, yeah. There is a breeze, but and it's like a sea breeze, so that's nice. But you're warm.
You should you should get a big hat like mine. It's really helpful.
Well, I guess. What accent? Sorry.
So you should try wearing 30 pounds of leather.
I am wearing leather today. That is probably the problem.
The leather dress, yeah.
All
right.
Well, oh wow, is this the Gilded Dragon? Yeah. Wow, it's amazing.
You get to the Gilded Dragon. It's much nicer than the Golden Goose. It's very swish looking. There is a gigantic billboard poster thing at the entrance that says "Playing tonight and every night, Loralai Moonsong live from sundown." It's early afternoon, so there is a lunch crowd. Are you going inside?
Sure.
Do you want all of us?
Wow, you guys could sit at a table if you don't want to talk to Torak and observe the crowd.
We could get lunch.
You could
We
get
could just
lunch.
sit
Could
there
get
and
lunch.
Taverns serve lunch.
Dalia?
right before we go in, she's gonna cast Read Aura to see magic things, and has the magical the type of magic.
All right.
Cool.
Inside or on the outside?
I'm gonna cast it outside and then
As you
walk
go in,
in, and
okay.
it lasts a minute.
Okay. So you're going in? Everyone?
Before we go in, are there any windows or anything that would be like, hey, this is like second floor kind of?
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so is it 2 stories kind of?
Hang on, let me just double check. I believe so, yes. Yes, 2 stories.
Right. And is there a clear indication of like, hey, these are where rooms are? Is it like the whole second floor?
It very much looks like the second floor is rooms.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
then the first floor is tavern, which is very normal. Like that would be a pretty standard kind of situation. So you go into the Gilded Dragon. Right. You enter the Gilded Dragon. Dalia, your thing picks up fuck tons of magic items. This place is very crowded. It's the lunch crowd. There's a lot of people there. Many of them have various bits and pieces on them that are magical of one kind or another. All kinds of different schools of magic. It's mostly fairly, like there's nothing that really jumps out at you. It's mostly, like fairly standard kind of stuff that people would have. Yes.
Specifically looking for anything fiendish or, making pacts or anything like what we've talked about could be,
the School of Magic would only tell you the kind of magic it is, not like the origin, if that makes sense.
So whatever like a charming a person or something like that would be...
There's a lot of charm. Like charm is, I don't know.
Enchantment.
Loads. But again, not that surprising given the kind of place Motera is. That people would have things that would nudge people to do what they want.
A magical perfume and the like.
Yeah, like all those kinds of things. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on here. It's busy. Like most of the tables are full of people talking and eating and drinking and just having a good time.
Is it table service or do we have to go to the bar?
It looks like you have to go to the bar.
Okay.
At least to order.
Is Loralai Moonsong present?
No. Well, no. Not as far as you can tell. There is someone playing music, but it's very, middle of the day kind of stuff. Some random with a lute.
Casual.
Yeah.
Oh, we all know how Axel feels about lutes.
It's very ambient lunchtime music. It's not designed to be paid attention to very much. It's just
Axel's gonna flick him a copper just because he feels sorry for him.
He's pretty good. Like for a lute player, he's pretty decent. Yeah.
Also, I apologize to all real-world lute players. They're a very tricky instrument. It's just my character has an electric guitar and he thinks he's better than them.
Of course he does.
Or who's going to come with Axel to the bar and talk to this Torak Marblebeard, and who's going to have lunch?
I'm having lunch.
Well, all of us will come to the bar.
Good, because you're my manager.
I am team lunch, so nobody speaks to me.
Yeah. Orbis is dressed like a pimp, so that can...
God.
Not that sort of manager.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's okay. Cool.
Is Gertrude?
Gertrude is wherever Loralai is.
Okay. Team lunch.
Dalia, team lunch or team bar?
Team bar.
Team bar. Okay. So the three of you find yourselves a little table somewhere. Presumably you go and order lunch from the bar before you sit down? What are you doing?
We do that thing where we get a table and then we put our jackets down and then we get to the food.
Okay. The food is fairly standard tavern fare. It's, like salads and soups and bowls of fries with 3 dips. I don't know.
Yeah. Amora's cooking is better than this.
It is.
I want a fried chicken wrap.
Sure. Lunch will set you back like, I don't know, 5 silver each. 7 if you get a drink.
Pub feed.
Yeah, pretty much.
All I want and all I need. All I want is a good pub feed.
They definitely have a chowder as well.
Probably, yeah. The 3 of you who go to talk to Torak, he is behind the bar, but he's kind of not. He's definitely in a managerial position. There are other people doing the serving of drinks and all that kind of stuff. He's sort of sitting at the end, in the corner. He's chatting to a couple of people who look like they spend a lot of money in his tavern. Very stout dwarven chap with like a very impressive beard with like beads and jewels and stuff woven into it. He's dressed very well.
Go manager.
Okay. Go manager. Well, all of us will introduce us as a musician and manager
And stylist.
And stylist. Yes, and stylist. And
What are you? Are you just walking up and being like, "Hi, I'm Orvis, and this is Axel."
Yeah, pretty much. And well,
He looks you up and down, and he goes, "Never heard of you."
Well, maybe you should have. Well, so we heard that you were looking for some acts, but then we turn up here and notice you've got a resident act already.
Sure do. She's pretty good.
Pretty good, bringing in the crowds.
Wouldn't be here if she wasn't. You mean you haven't seen her show? You must be like the only people in town.
We're new to town. We only just arrived today from old. We
Which is
come
possibly
from.
why you haven't heard of us.
Yeah.
Could be.
I really need my notes to name drop some of the people that he knows in Aldercastle. God damn it! Why didn't I prepare my notes?
I gave you all that information too.
I know, that's what I'm looking for in my Dropbox right now. Axel stuff. There we go. No, that's the wrong one.
You should give them more meaningful names than Axel stuff.
There we go. Axel would like to speak to Andalene. That's what it's called. No, that's the wrong one too.
We can assume you name drop some names. That's fine.
Yeah. And he's going to say, you know, I'm a traveling bard. Obviously, this is Orvis, my very well-spoken manager, and this is Dalia, my stylist. She takes care of making me look good. You know,
he
like
again looks you up and down, like he's assessing the job she's done.
I mean, I'm happy to audition, but you know, I was hoping, and we've heard amazing things about this Loralai, and you know, if she's an up-and-coming musician, we've got the contacts in Aldercastle. I mean, we're not looking to steal your prized
That's
position.
immediately his reaction is like, "What the fuck?"
But you know, it'd be remiss for a musician to focus on just one pub, especially if they're seeking fame. So, very interested to meet and talk with this Loralai. I presume
that you can convince her to move to Aldercastle and leave the Gilded Dragon.
Musicians tour. It wouldn't be a permanent thing.
She goes up there, she dazzles them, and then you get a lot more people coming from Aldercastle with like more gold to spend.
Are you new to music management by chance? Sounds like you sort of don't really know the biz.
I am not a music manager. I am a tavern owner. Loralai manages herself. She likes it here.
Ah, that's cool. She might like it in Aldercastle. Fame and fortune, you know how it goes.
Right.
Could we speak with her?
So, oh, I see. You're looking for an introduction. That's what's happening here.
I for one would like to play with her on stage.
Do you know how many people come in here looking for an introduction to Loralai Moonsong? She is the biggest singer in Moterra right now. And all of them tell me that they're a music manager or a whatever to try and convince me that they're special and I should give them the introduction they're looking for. So
As
what makes you special?
I'm happy to audition.
Shall we remove this lute player from the stage and show you why we're special?
And this is where Axel's going to roll in that one for performance.
He gives you a long look, Axel. And you have been in this business a long time, and you would recognize this as someone who's like, this fucking punk thinks he can come into my place and wow me. But there's also a little bit of, he's not a stupid, well, he's not the smartest man in the world, but he's savvy. And he knows that if he lets a good thing go without at least giving it a shot, then he might regret that. So he kind of gives you a look and he goes, "What kind of music do you play?"
Whatever you want, man.
Well, the lunchtime crowd aren't really looking for something too in their face, and you seem like an in-your-face kind of guy.
I wouldn't have got to where I am today without knowing how to play to an audience and reading the room.
All right, I'll give you a shot. If you're any good, maybe I'll let you meet my girl.
All right.
And he like gestures, and the lute player finishes his lutey song, and comes off stage for a drink. All right, let's see what you got, kid. Gertrude.
Do we know? Like, I think Gertrude knows that he came from Elder Castle, right? Askel did.
Axel. I
Yeah.
assume that you know that. I don't know. I don't think Axel's been particularly secretive about that information, has he?
Yeah. I can't remember if she certainly knows, but I think she knows.
Yeah, I don't know. Laura?
Before this show started, I wanted us to be able to get a little bit of a perception check of the dining area.
Okay, what are you looking for?
I'm kind of just like, ha ha ha, yeah, and just like listening to other conversations and just like, wow, no, this is what Loralai does. Loralai says, hey, Bergamot, could you tell me everything you know about that school we were in? And then as Bergamot is doing a big, long speech of everything, she is nodding and listening, but she is listening to other people around us talk.
Okay, make a perception check.
Oh, well, you see, it started back in a few centuries ago, and
Wow.
the founders were really interesting. See, they had this really intriguing design on the way that runes could encompass each other.
So that was a 25 perception.
Okay. Again, it's mostly like lunchtime gossip. People are talking about their lives. They're like discussing whatever the move, whatever people talk about over lunch. There's nothing.
No moon song talk.
No, I mean maybe a couple of people are mentioning her because she is a hot gossip thing at the moment. But nothing super like unexpected. It's pretty standard lunchtime.
I would like you to tell me the hottest tea that was just spilled. And I would like to know who said it to who, just to keep it in the back of my mind.
Well, I'd spill that tea.
Well, I'm trying to think of something that's going to be actually interesting to you. You hear a woman who is a very well-dressed human woman talking about how nobody has seen or heard of the scoundrel Avion Sun in several months.
Okay.
And how fortunate it is for his mother that he has finally chosen to go to ground so that she doesn't have to deal with the shame of his actions.
Amazing.
What does she look like? She's well dressed. She's just like nondescript fancy lady.
Yeah, nondescript fancy lady, human.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Gertrude.
Okay, so when we see him go up on the stage, Gertrude's gonna really like not talk really loud, but just above like an acceptable whisper would be about how amazing of a player he is, and people are gonna have a treat, like just so people might pay attention to him more.
Building me up to fail. Love it.
Dalia, is this before Axel's performance?
Yeah, just while he's up there, she wants to look around and see like the rooms. Is there anything that has like a star on it or anything that could be particularly indicating?
Are you talking about the second floor?
The rooms upstairs.
So it's not like there are stairs going up. It's not an open. Yeah. So you can't see the doors of the rooms from where you are. All right, Axel. Do your thing.
Oh, it's
what? First of all, what kind of music are you playing for this lunchtime crowd?
Well, I rolled a 30 performance and I was going to sing in my bad singing voice.
Yes,
so Axel gets up on stage and strums a big chord and it's jangly and it's thing and it sounds, like an eagle. And he goes, "Well, I'm a running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that want to own me, 2 that want to stole me, 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it
Wait, stop before we get copyright strike.
easy."
Nice.
Yeah.
And the song
Love it.
continues like that. And I was trying to do a clever way of doing the thing about standing on the corner and Matera Althea, but it didn't
Oh,
really
yeah.
rhyme, so we won't do that.
All good. So 30 performance.
Yes.
Yeah, so people start to pay attention and there's some like tapping of knees going on, and when you get to the end of the song they absolutely applaud and like it's good. Torek is actually like, huh, it's not terrible. Oh, that's pretty impressive. And you just do the one song?
Oh no, Axel's away. You're not stopping.
Okay.
You're not stopping him until someone's like, "Dude, come on, fucking cool it."
Okay. Cool. Dalia.
Lost in the moment.
Whenever he's done with the set, she's gonna do her loud whistle.
Yeah,
It was only a 19 performance, but that's like a thing that she does.
Mm.
Try to whip
You,
up the
you
crowd.
do get some
Yeah.
like frowny looks from the fancy ladies who are like, God, what who let her in here?
Question:
Yes.
How does the lute player react?
Oh, he seems unfazed. He's like he's drinking his drink and he's like, oh yeah, that's quite good. Like he's not threatened, but he's enjoying the music. Like he clearly doesn't have any insecurities about his skills.
we all know those guys.
Cool. Yeah, Axel plays the lunch set. After a few songs, Torek will summon you off stage and send the lute player back on. And we'll have a conversation with you, which we will have after the break, which we are going to do now. So, given that this is a very Axel-centric, music-oriented episode, Will is doing the giveaway today. Do you want to tell us about it?
I sure would, now that it is time. So the giveaway today is my album from my band, The Whiskey Show. We put this out a couple of years ago. We got a heap of CDs printed and then never got around to selling them. So now we're also not very popular like Axel, so we have to give them away. This album was recorded at, I'm going to plug all the people who are involved, well, not all the people who are involved, but it was recorded at the Armory in Wellington. It was produced by Troy Kelly. It was mastered at Sterling Sound in New York City by Randy Merrill, who has worked with the likes of the Arctic Monkeys, Lady Gaga, and One Direction.
Fancy.
And my band is me on drums, Scott Finlay is our guitarist, Dean Patton is our singer, and Heldon Midway is our bass player. I always think that second and third place should get something as well. So not just one, there are 2 CDs to give away. First and second place in the marble races will get a CD. And then also there's a 3rd CD for the Yeet Crown.
Yes.
Amazing.
And I will send these anywhere in the world.
Cool. All right. So if you would like to get some of Will's music in your life,
Also,
hang around.
a little bird tells me that this album will be playing while the marbles is on.
Oh, awesome.
Because I gave permission for my Spotify to be streamed on your stream.
Nice. Love it. Okay. So that will be happening now. Adam will do some marble races and some people can win some music. We'll be back in 10-15 minutes or so, depending on how involved people get. Don't go anywhere. Hang around, play some marbles, listen to some of Will's music, and we will see you shortly. See you in a bit. Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome back to the Gallant Horde. We are playing the Siren. Our adventurers have found themselves at the Gilded Dragon. Axel just tore up the stage and endeared himself to Torek. What did I call him? Marblebeard, the dwarf who owns the Gilded Dragon. I remembered that I actually have a map of the Gilded Dragon. I got so involved in the story that I forgot to show it to you. So I have put you on it. So you should be able to see it now. This is the sort of ground floor tavern, bar, eating area. Loralai is on the stage, but she isn't actually on the stage, so I shall move her. She is not there right now. Be gone. this beautiful map is a Tom Cartos map, because of course it is. He's amazing. And you have to imagine that it is full of people. I did not fill it with people because that would have taken a very long time and I couldn't be bothered. Use your imaginations. All right. So, Will, Axel, you have finished your set. You've been called back off the stage. What are you doing?
He's gonna order a beer
Okay.
because he's thirsty now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hot. He's wearing a lot of leather.
Mm-hmm. Like
Um,
5 silver a beer.
Cool.
This is the going rate in Murterra. It's again not as good. You do notice that there are some like proper like pint, on tap beers, and those appear to actually be Andaline's beers, and they are also 10 silver, just like she sells them. So you can have the more expensive, better beer if you wish, or you can drink standard ale.
He's gonna drink standard ale when in Rome.
Okay. Oh yes, I should put your tokens on the map. That would be a good idea. Thank you, chat, for helping me do my job.
Did we get a booth or did we get a table, guys?
Well, that is up to you guys. I would say the booths were probably all full. You would probably have had to find yourself. You'd probably have this like one of the back tables somewhere. But you can put yourselves wherever you want. Torek comes over to you, Axel, and kind of looks you up and down with slight impressedness in his face, and he goes, "You're pretty good. I am happily surprised. I thought you were going to be crap. Not gonna lie. Most
Thanks,
people who
man.
come in here are. It's rare that someone can actually live up to their bravado. Good job."
Thank you kindly.
I don't know that your style of music is right to back up Aralaya, but I'm sure she would enjoy meeting you.
Yeah, maybe she can decide that. I'm very
Versatile?
versatile. That's the word. Words are hard.
She tends to do things that are a bit more atmospheric. Anyway, good job.
Thanks. So, like, you gonna introduce us, or do we have to wait for that, or what's the score? What's the score here? What's the score here?
Right now?
Well, or at least let us know when is an appropriate time.
Well, she's very private. I'll send someone up and see if she's up for getting visitors, I guess. And he kind of calls over a random person who works there and sends them upstairs. Gertrude.
And when that person goes upstairs to get Gertrude, not get Gertrude, get her, can Gertrude send Honey Biscuit to kind of like see what door it is?
Is Gertrude not having lunch with Bergamot and Loralai right now?
I mean, they're looking.
Yes, but you can't hear the conversation that is being had. It's loud and there's a lot of like ambient noise.
Worth a shot.
I was holding out my hand to say that Dalia would send Gertrude a message. Send a bee.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's fine then. Okay. So Honey Biscuit can follow up.
Do I need to roll stealth for the bee?
Sure.
Okay. Hold on. No, not crafting for the bee. Sorry. No. I'm getting there. Give me a second.
I was thinking more Tori Amos than Enya, but yeah, that's the vibe.
Well, that would be a 23 stealth for the bee.
Fair enough. Yeah, so he goes. This person goes up the stairs and knocks on a door. A voice comes from inside. Who's there? And he says, the boss says there's some people to see you. Are you up for visitors? And there's like a long silence, and then she goes, I suppose if he thinks I should see them. Yes, all right. And he comes back down and talks to Torek, and Torek goes, "Well, seems she's willing to talk to you. Just you? Or you bring in your manager and your stylist with you?"
Yes.
All right then. And the lackey takes you upstairs. You all just going upstairs? You leaving the other three downstairs?
I'll message Bergamot and say meeting the singer. Stand by. We'll try and vacate her room.
Okay.
Okay. Apparently they're going to go meet the singer now, and he's going to try and get her out of there.
All right. So you go upstairs. The guy knocks on the door again, and she goes, come in." And the door opens. He kind of steps back and just gestures for you to go in. Yes, Gertrude.
I'm just gonna say that the bee will hang out like behind Dalia, like try to hide in her hair and stuff.
Okay. Dalia?
I'm gonna cast Read Aura again right before we
Okay.
go in. Last minute.
So you go in, the three of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you enter a room, and it's quite like luxurious, but in a very simple way. Like there is a really nice bed that has, it's a single room, and like a one of those like stage makeup, with all the lights, dresses. It's nice but understated. That's kind of the aesthetic of this place. And there is a woman. She is tall, humanoid. She has light blue skin and very blue hair. And she's wearing like a very simple but elegant kind of almost dressing gown sort of thing. And she comes over and she like sort of half bows and she goes, "Hello. It is lovely to meet you. Are you fans, or why has Torek decided that we should meet?"
Well, I'm a musician as well.
Oh,
I,
how
did, I, was,
lovely.
I was just making the racket downstairs. You might have heard.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Just we're from Elder Castle and scouting new talent, and we'd heard good things about you, so we thought it'd rather than just come to your show tonight, make the personal introduction.
Oh, that's very kind. I just sing. I'm not trying to, I'm sure you understand. Sometimes you've just got to let the music out.
Oh yeah, I understand, big time.
Well, come in. There's like a little kind of coffee table area with a few chairs around it. Please sit. I don't really have anything to offer you right now. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Your company is more than enough, Axel says charmingly.
Oh, aren't you kind? Dalia. She has a necklace around her neck that has and it's underneath her gown, but it's definitely enchantment-y. There's not really anything else magical that you can see in the room, apart from a couple of like minor showman things, which as a festival kid you would probably recognize, but it's all very kind of standard stuff. Yes.
She's gonna message Axel and Orvis and let them know that she has an enchantment.
Can you do that without speaking?
I'm moving my lips, but the sound happens in their mind.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like a whisper thing because you're in a very small room with this woman.
Yeah, I can be like gawking around
Yeah,
and
okay.
like that.
Cool. Well, what sort of music do you make? I'm sorry, did you tell me your name?
It's Axel.
Oh, how lovely to meet you, Axel.
And this is my manager Orvis, and this is my stylist Dalia.
Ah, how lovely. I'm Loralai. You probably know that already.
Yeah, yeah, sure we do. How long have you been a musician for? Well, how long have you been singing for?
Oh, well, I feel like I've been a musician my whole life. You know, it's always felt like there was something inside me that was trying to escape. Um, I've only been fortunate enough to be successful very recently. It seems that people like what I'm doing.
What was the turning point for you that
Oh,
saw
I
your
don't know.
star start to rise so
I
quickly?
suppose I just became extremely dedicated to my art and really committed myself. You know, up to that point, I'd just been sort of dallying with it.
Ah, very good, very good.
What
Well,
about you? How long have you been a musician?
wow, yeah, much the same. My whole life drawn to music, but professionally, a few years now. I'm primarily a guitarist and a singer, so I've been in bands, but at the moment I'm sort of doing my own thing.
Right.
But I'm also acting for some important people in Elder Castle who are looking for new talents to tour and bring new
Oh,
music to the city.
that's very sweet of you, but I could go to Elder Castle.
Why not? It's rad.
Yes, but it's too far from the sea, you see.
Too far from the sea, I see.
Hmm? I must
Do you
be
have?
near
Do you?
the salt water.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Do we recognize what race she is?
You can make a, I guess, society check.
Oh, I'm good at those. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
30.
You're pretty sure she's an Undine, or at least she has Undine in her. She does look part human, but there's definitely, like the blue skin and the hair, there's definitely some Undine going on there, which is kind of mermaidish. It's connected to water, like water elemental style stuff.
Would Axel know that with a 27?
What was yours? Yeah,
27.
Yeah.
All right.
they're not super rare, like they exist.
Oh, yeah.
But she and usually Undines are either connected. They're usually connected to a particular body of water, in much the way a dryad would be connected to a tree. But they can stretch that. But if your body of water is salt water, you need to be near salt water. So she's in Moterra because it's next to the sea.
Mm. Well, I mean, that's a shame if you couldn't go to Outer Castle. I think the promoters up there would love to have you.
I'm sure, and it would be lovely, but I'm afraid it's just I cannot be that far from the ocean. It hurts.
I've never been to Matera before, but and we only arrived today. I'd love to go down to the water,
Oh, you should.
check it out.
It's lovely. It's
Would you like to
beautiful.
show me? Would you show us?
Well, I can't go today, because I will be playing later. I usually go at dawn.
Ah,
The sun rises and it makes the sea sparkle. If you're still here tomorrow, I would be very happy to meet you there at dawn.
potentially, I'll still be up. Yep. Well, how would you feel about maybe doing a bit of a jam tonight? I could join you on
Jam.
stage. Yeah, I could join you on
Oh.
stage.
Oh, well,
Make some music.
you said guitar. Isn't that
Yeah.
quite loud?
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, well, I'm certainly open to experimentation.
Do you have a practice space we could go to, maybe, so it's not completely impromptu?
Oh, I don't
Practice
really
this afternoon.
practice. I just let the music flow.
I'm down with that.
You
I'm
know,
down with that.
it's like sometimes it's in your head and it simply must come out.
As I always say, I've got music living inside of me, and I need to set it free.
Exactly. So you understand what I mean.
Oh yeah, I get it, totes.
Dalia?
Does she seem like she's enchanted or like under any influence?
You can make a Arcana check, I guess.
I'm gonna do that
31.
too, for
How many?
shits and giggles.
31.
She doesn't seem mind controlled. Like she seems very sincere about what she's saying. And like it's coming from her. But something feels a little off to you. You can't quite put your finger on it. It's not like a straight up like she's charmed thing, but there's definitely something going on there.
So Dalia knows a little bit about like the music in Axel's head. A little
Mhm.
bit. Is it something like that?
It's hard to say. Like you've heard Axel talk about it in a very similar way to what Loralai is saying, and that feels like it's coming from her. But something does feel slightly. That was a high roll. Something feels slightly hinky, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Like she
Where are
seems
you
very
from?
sincere, but it's yeah.
Where are you from, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I'm from here. I grew up right on the beachfront with my father. My mother, well, she was full Undine, and she went back to the sea when I was very young. So I've always been in Merterra. This is home.
Well, I guess we'll the offer still stands. I'd love to join you on stage tonight if that's something you want to do for something,
Absolutely, we could
different.
give it a go. I'm sure it would be enormous fun.
But I guess we'll leave you be for now, and it was lovely to meet you.
Likewise, it's so delightful to meet another musician who understands what it's like to have to sing.
100.
I look forward to performing for all of you later tonight.
As Axel stands, you give a little bow and turn his back and heading for the door. He'll message Bergamot again. No go on vacating the room.
Yeah, apparently they weren't able to get her out of the room.
Dalia.
We're not getting any fiendish vibes from her, are we?
Not from her, no. Gertrude?
Can the bee stay behind in the room?
Sure.
Okay. It's gonna try and like find a corner that has something on the ceiling that has something nearby to hide behind. And just be out.
Make a perception check for Honey Biscuit.
Go, Honey Biscuit.
Ugh. I'm gonna use my inspiration to re-roll that because I rolled a 2. Natural 20 for 31.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So for like the next, I mean, I guess you guys are hanging out in this place for a bit now, just chilling, eating food, drinking beer, hanging out. For the next like, I don't know, hour or so, she just kind of potters about her room, just being. She kind of hums to herself a bit a lot of the time, but she doesn't, she's just chilling.
She's just being.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Sorry, I would like to, during that time, I would like to look around to see if there's like a tavern cat or dog or something.
Okay, make a perception check.
Cat. 32.
There is not.
You're pretty sure about that.
You're very certain this tavern does not have any pets.
She just kind of looks around a bit dejected.
Just
Okay.
a frog and a cat hanging out with us.
Is there anything anyone wants to do in the next hour in this tavern beyond the normal tavern hanging?
Axel will explain the similarities in the way they think to the team and give them a rundown on her appearance and all that sort of thing, and then noting the bits about she has to be near the water in case that means anything to anybody. Just a general lore dump on the meeting.
Are you guys staying like at a different table than us to seem like a different group? Or did you come to sit with us at our 3-top?
Maybe at the next table with just sort of like casual blah blah blahs in between the table, but
Okay.
sort of down low, but not like, hey buddies.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. It does over the course of the next hour empty out a little bit because the lunch rush is over and people leave. Honey Biscuit. About an hour and a half before sunset, you watch Loralai sit down on the floor, cross-legged, and pull out a jar of what looks like sea salt and like make a circle around herself with the sea salt and kind of go into like something that looks like a meditative trance. And while she's there, she is singing and humming and just kind of, it's like she's getting her head right or whatever. This is some sort of ritual. Whether it's a ritual or whether it's a performance ritual, this is what Honey Biscuit sees. Can I get a will save from Honey Biscuit, please?
Oh.
16.
Oh no.
He has a good will, but I rolled a 3.
Nowhere to find her. Hang on. Please hold. Oh, okay. What would you say Honey Biscuit's dominant emotion is? In this moment.
In this specific moment, he's concentrating really hard on just being quiet and still. So, I mean, right now he's just patience, I guess, is what he's being. But
it's not really an
overall,
emotion.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
Would you say he's more excited or determined about the role that he's
determined, taking? I guess. He likes being helpful, so determined.
Is he pumped up about it? Like, is that?
Okay.
I never thought about it.
Okay. Honey Biscuits begins to feel like a epic hero. Like he is in the process of saving the fucking world from whatever's going on here. He is real like, I am actually the greatest hero Azuria has ever seen. Like he is very sure of this situation.
Honey Biscuit, greatest hero of mine.
And as she's like humming and singing, he feels like infused with being inspired to be like the greatest hero that has ever buzzed the earth, buzzed the Azuria. And underneath that, just like as a layer underneath that, is fear of failing, fear of letting everybody down. That's where he's at.
A poor little bee.
It's mostly like, rah, I can do anything, but just underneath that, there's like just a hint of, but what if I can't? What if I let what if I let Gertrude down and terrible things happen? Like, yeah.
It's a lot of emotion for 1B.
Yeah. Does he do anything?
Well, I mean, his mission is to watch her, so
Okay.
if he's all hero mode, that's his.
Okay. At the end of like an hour, she speaks a word. What languages do you / Honey Biscuit speak?
He speaks common, but I can't remember. Does he know? Does he understand all the languages I do?
Well, I guess it
he only
depends on whether
speaks common.
Are you looking through his eyes, or is he on his own right now?
He's on his own.
Okay. Well, then he doesn't. I would say he doesn't understand what she says, or know what language it is. But when she speaks the word, the salt circle around her, like, lights up and explodes over her, and like showers down on her as like magic sparkles.
That's cool.
And she kind of breathes out and then stands up and prepares to go on and do her set.
Biodegradable glitter. Oh,
that is what Honey Biscuit observes.
Okay. As she leaves, he'll like fly out and come back and tell us all of that.
Okay.
Would he notice that switch of like all of a sudden, or does it not register to him that it's a switch?
You mean the language?
No, the emotion change, like the I gonna be the greatest.
It feels like it's coming from inside him. It's not. It's like the thing he was already feeling got amplified.
So, but he wouldn't notice that difference.
No. Not in the moment, no. But you might. I mean, when he comes downstairs, depending on how he behaves, if you want to do a perception check to see if you notice that he's behaving in a more, I don't know, heroic way than previously.
I don't. Okay. Perception, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Am I on my character? Yes, because that's 69.
Yes.
Natural 20 for 31. I keep going back and forth.
Nice.
All right, yeah. So when Honeybus comes down, he is behaving a bit weirdly. Like he's like super amped to be the greatest there ever was. He thinks he's in a Pokemon game. Dalia.
She's gonna ask Honey Biscuit, can you like tell me what that word sounded like? Can you give me a phonetic, like what the word was?
Honey Biscuit can make an intelligence check to see if he can remember a word that made no sense to him.
Sorry. An intelligence check, you said?
Yep.
That is not an option for me.
What? For Honey Biscuit?
On his character. Yeah, for his. That's not an option because he doesn't have stats, I guess.
Oh. Okay, just roll me a d20 then.
Okay. 6.
Nope. He has no idea. It was a weird noise. It made no sense to him. He does not remember it.
It's not
he feels really fucking bad about that, though. He feels like maybe he's let you down and he couldn't remember the word.
I'm so sorry. If a bee can cry, he's about to cry.
Torek comes up on stage and goes, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, beings from all places, I am very honored once again to present the astonishing sounds of Miss Aralaya Moonsong. Today she will be accompanied by a brand new individual all the way from Elder Castle, Axel Torden, for at least one song." and he goes, he leaves, and she like drifts on stage in this most dramatic way and takes up position in front of the microphone, and it's very like Amy Lee, you know, like she has this long blue hair and this incredible like gown that's like black and has like blue sparkles that shimmer as the light hits her, and it's very dramatic. Axel, are you joining her?
Yeah, he's going to go up on stage and be respectfully back from her.
Okay.
Very much like an accompanying musician.
Sure.
Not in the limelight, and then he's going to vibe check and follow her
lead.
her lead. Yeah, very much so. And do you want performance check for that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Coming right up.
Dalia.
The plan was for Orvis and I to go backstage while they were performing. Would that be
If there
happening?
Don't know.
Just
Is
watch
that
from the
happening?
wings? That's I'm just like, is the owner gonna let us go back there? I guess.
I mean, there isn't really a backstage, is the thing. This is just a stage
side
on
of stage, side of stage.
Yeah, this is just a stage in the middle. Like, if you look at the thing, there's no backstage on it.
I'm pinging where you should be standing.
Yeah, we'll go down there.
Okay. That's fine. He's like, you're not the only ones there. There are several people there. That she draws a crowd of people who are trying to get in her good graces. And she begins to sing. And she is exceptional. She has this incredible voice that somehow sounds like the sea, but also it sounds like all the strongest emotions you've ever felt. And it is exceptional. The whole place goes hushed when she sings. And it's beautiful. I'm gonna need all of you to make will saves, please.
Does my bee need to make a new
Oh.
will save?
Yes.
I am tempted to keep this just for the fun of it. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to take it. I rolled a nat 1.
Amazing.
That's
Axel?
a 15.
29.
Okay, Dalia.
19, and I used my inspiration.
Gertrude.
I rolled both me and Honey Biscuit separate times, a 32 for each of us.
Okay, you guys are fine. Honey Biscuit shakes off his hero complex for now. Loralai.
I rolled a natural 20 for a total of 39.
Very good. All right, Orvis.
13.
Okay. So, Orvis and Bergamot.
Yes.
She's singing about following your dreams. She's singing about like becoming the thing you want to be. She is. It's kind of like she has lyrics, but you almost don't hear the lyrics. You almost hear it as if it's a direct conduit to every broken dream you've ever had. And you feel overwhelmingly like you should stop what you're doing and go and follow your dreams as soon as you leave this venue, which you shouldn't do yet because you should stay for the show. But once you're done, you should definitely think about the thing that you want most and go after it. Dalia, you were a 19? You get a sense of like longing for something, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is that you're longing for. It's just this like deep sense of yearning for something that you can't identify. Yes, Axel.
As part of Axel's performance, he casts counter performance. So one of those three, probably out of Dalia or Orvis, because they're the closest, could re-roll that saving throw.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll roll for that.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to
Orvis.
Orvis, you can re-roll.
Okay.
And he's doing that, seeing if it gets any sort of reaction from Loralai. Like, does she notice?
If she does, she doesn't react.
Okay.
Reroll was a 10.
Okay.
I don't. Hold on. Let me just check. I don't think you have to.
It doesn't matter.
but-
That's the same
yeah.
amount of fail.
Okay.
So, Loralai and Gertrude, can you roll me perception checks, please?
Absolutely. Hopefully.
22.
25.
As you are looking around at the crowd, you get the distinct impression that a lot of people in this room are being very emotionally affected by her performance. There's something about the way she's performing that is tapping into people's emotional landscape and really kind of drawing it out of them.
Okay.
Just in like she's getting under their skin.
Can-
Several people are openly weeping, like crying. And as she moves on to the next song is a song about like loss and being in love and having your love taken from you, and very classic like pop music shtick, but the people in the room are reacting to it like it is their own story, like they are.
Can I
not
message
everyone, but there are definitely some people who are like, it varies.
Can I message Dalia?
Yeah.
And ask, is it the necklace?
I was gonna do recognize spell, which is I'm trained in the appropriate skill for the spell's tradition. So if it's occult, which is what I'm trained in, if it's an occult spell, I have a chance to. Is it a spell? Because then I'll roll to see if I recognize it.
Well, roll first.
We see your lips moving, but if
You're muted.
You're muted. Okay.
Talking to myself, trying to figure out what to roll. It doesn't. I just get a +1 to this, so I'm just gonna. That's a 17. Or does it add my skill?
I would assume you add your. I would assume it's an occultism roll. It would be the thing that you're.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how it
roll?
works, but
You want
that
me
makes
to
sense
add
to
my
me. So
occult?
that's what we're gonna do. Yes.
You might roll again, or just add my occult to the 17.
Just add your occult.
33.
Do some maths. Okay. It's weird because she is not actively casting spells, but things are happening that are spell-like. There is something that is heightening the emotional response to the way she is performing, but it's not active on her part.
Is it the necklace? Can I tell if it's coming from the necklace or is it coming from?
I don't think you can tell that, but you can definitely tell that there is something magical happening here that is heightening the emotional response, and that is actively, depending on the kind of song she's singing, it is actively instilling an emotional response. So, for example, there is a spell called Warrior's Regret, which does mental damage based on guilt for not succeeding in a warlike situation. It's things like that, but it's a bunch of like little things going off, but it doesn't feel like it's coming. It doesn't feel like she's doing it on purpose. It doesn't feel intentional. But Dalia would be aware of spells of that kind and recognize one or two of them. They're all things that manipulate people's feelings.
Would that have been a critical success?
What was it?
32?
How do you find a spell DC?
Yeah. Spell DC?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be this should be on the character sheet itself, which
Yeah.
obviously
I have one of those, but I don't know where it is. Is it your...
So like my DC is 25. So if somebody rolls a 35, it's a critical. It doesn't say a number next to the spell in the spell list.
How do you? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. How do you find out what it is?
There's no spells that have a DC on it.
Oh yes. Oh no, that's not a critical. Sorry, I found them. How does Pathfinder work? I don't know.
It does. So what I'm doing is recognize the spell. So on a success, I correctly recognize the spell.
Yeah. So this is not a normal spell casting situation. So what you're recognizing is a kind of collection of spell-like effects that are all things that are similar to spells that have an impact on people's feelings. So you would have seen Loralai cast Calm Emotions, for example. It's things of that nature, things that make people feel despair, things that make people feel super happy and chilled, but whatever it is connected to whatever she's singing about. So when she's singing about, epic battles, it's warrior's regret. When she's singing about lost love, it's despair. It's like, yeah. Something is heightening her performance so that it takes advantage of the emotions of the audience and pushes them further into those emotions. Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, she's going to reply to Loralai. I don't think it's coming from the necklace. It's her, and it seems to be a variety of emotional, effective spells, sort of like your calm emotions, but like for different emotions.
Are you passing on the fact that she's not doing it on purpose? Or no? You're just going to say she's doing it.
I don't know that she's.
No, you do. It doesn't feel intentional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Because you would know what it looks like when someone casts a spell on purpose. This is not what's happening here. Yeah. Askel.
Happy to make a check at your ruling, but what's Askel picking up from bard shit, knowing that how his spells work, and he can influence the way people feel, and he knows.
Make a, I guess, Arcana check.
Okay. I'm going to use my inspiration. That's better. 25.
Very similar kind of vibe. Like, I feel like Askel would know because he's done it. He's probably used magic in performances to heighten his performance in small ways. This is kind of what she's doing, but she's not casting things. It's like she's channeling something that is influencing people's emotional landscape. It doesn't feel intentional. It feels like there's something going on there that she either is not aware of or is doing instinctively or something like
or
that.
Like an external influence.
Potentially.
Okay.
And we're not getting any fiendish vibes from anywhere.
So how are you detecting these fiendish vibes?
Occultism?
No. Not unless you have something specific that lets you, I don't know, sense fiends or something.
Ancient philosophies, esoteric lore, obscure mysticism, supernatural creatures.
Yeah, that means you know about those things.
Before. I have faced a fiend before.
Yes. She doesn't look like a fiend.
Okay. But like knowing that's not coming from her, I'm looking around to see if there's anybody else that's given off that.
Okay. I mean, there are several tieflings. Including the one in your party. so there are,
down that road again.
Yeah. So there are, because this is a very cosmopolitan place, there are definitely people who have probably fiendish blood of one kind or another. But actual like full on fiends, no. Not that you can see. Askel, you asked me a question and I've forgotten what it was. Did I answer it?
No, I think you answered it.
Okay, good. Good for me. Go past Jack.
I can't remember if I asked another question or not.
Okay.
I was reading my spells, so I wasn't really paying attention.
The gist that those of you who are not currently embroiled in your own feelings are getting is that she is magic is happening, but it's not. She's not casting spells actively. And looking around at the audience, several people are clearly deeply emotionally affected by her music. In some cases, to a very extreme level. Yes, Dalia.
I'm gonna message Bergamot. She's at her room right now, so if y'all wanted to like turn into something tiny and go check it out.
Bergamot, you don't care.
Yeah, Bergamot is currently curled up in a ball on her chair, just head covered by her hat.
I forgot.
I mean, Dalia didn't know. Dalia, like, yeah, so that's fine.
But would Bergamot reply?
Oh, is it one that I can reply to?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You would get something along the lines of whispering, just saying, "I don't want to be scared anymore." That's it.
Can Loralai pick up on this?
I mean, Lorelai's right next to Bergamot, so I would say Lorelai
Yeah,
is well
I'm
aware of
like
the fact
sitting
that
right in
Bergamot
front of her.
is in fact one of the audience members who is deeply affected by the circumstances.
Okay. Is there anybody else really close to us that's deeply affected by this?
Yeah, there's probably one or two.
Like within a 10-foot burst per se of Bergamot?
Bergamot's right in the corner. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let's just do a... How far is... No. Nope.
So, but if I was to stand, say, here...
Oh, you might get one other.
Okay. So Lorelai's going to casually walk over into a 10-foot burst zone.
Yeah.
And she's going to unleash Calm Emotion. DC 27, baby, of a... will? Is it will?
Yes, will. Make a will save, Bergamot.
Okay, will save. Wow, I'm not rolling well. That's a 19.
Well, that is a failure, which means any emotional effects that would affect this creature are suppressed.
So you feel better suddenly.
She just kind of pops her head back up.
The person in the other chair also stops crying.
Oh, sorry. Did something happen?
Lorelai just stretches and sits back down.
Lorelai, is Bergamot? You hear in your head?
She is feeling better now.
The singer's room is empty if y'all wanted to go do that plan.
Was that to Lorelai or to Bergamot?
Lorelai.
Oh.
Lorelai.
So Lorelai messages Bergamot and is like, the room is empty if you wanted to be a bug.
Be a bug.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I guess, can I message Honey Biscuit too and be like, if Bergamot goes to the room, will you be going with her?
You could also just say it to Gertie, and Gertie can pass that along.
Yeah, I could. So I will ask Gertrude if Honey Biscuit wanted to be a bug also and go with Bergamot. I don't know.
He is a bug, and I'll send him.
Bergamot, are you becoming a bug?
I will become a cicada.
Are you doing this right in the middle of the tavern?
I mean, I'm in the corner, but...
That's a question. Yes or no?
Yeah. Everyone should be paying attention to them.
They are, in fact, doing that, and nobody pays any attention whatsoever to you.
She just looks around and goes...
Cool. So Bergamot and Honey Biscuit go up to the room.
Mm-hmm.
Bergamot.
Which is closed. So...
Is there a gap I can slip in?
Probably.
Okay, good try. Well,
right.
I'm going to check the door first for magical traps.
Okay, make a Arcana check for me.
Arcana Roll that die. 26.
Nope, there's no traps.
Cool. Right. Just gonna try and slip on through door.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I kind of turn back into Bergmont, straighten up hat, and go. Okay. Fiend.
Did Honey Biscuit see where she put the salt? Like when she was done with it?
Yeah, it's in a jar on her like dresser.
Yeah, well, Honey Biscuit would be like, it's that thing that she.
Oh, okay. Gonna walk over, pick it up, look it over, take a sniff of it, see if there's anything weird about it.
It's sea salt. It's like rock salt, like sea,
Yeah. Okay. No, that's not it.
It's literally just salt.
For the fiend, it would have a contract of sorts. There could be some sort of token sitting about. I'm going to go check all the desks or anything for any like weird out of place items.
Make a perception check, please.
Can Honey Biscuit assist by using his eyes to also look in those places?
Yes, he may use his eyes.
That's a 26 on the perception.
I'm gonna just wait for what Honey Biscuit gets.
30.
A 30?
What? Oh my god. Okay.
That's my third 19.
This room is very simple. There's not a lot of possessions. There's not a lot of anything in it. Like it's nice and it's luxurious, but there's nothing super personal really apart from the jar of salt. But in a drawer, you find a single slip of paper, and on it is written the word Kalmoon. Kalmuun.
Okay. Does that mean anything in any of the languages that I know?
No. However, make a occultism check for me.
Occultism. Read those books. Come on. I'm re-rolling that.
Bergamot is a nerd.
Yeah, I am using my inspiration to re-roll that. Oh, come on.
What'd you get?
I'm going to use my hero point to re-roll that. Occultism. Come on. Okay, that's better. That's a 23.
You recognize this as a name. It's a used name, not a true name. Of a fairly minor demon that feeds on emotion.
Oh, okay. This is that's not good. Okay, right. She's gonna hold it in one of her pouches. Then take it out of that pouch. That pouch is full of dirt. Put it in this pouch instead. Okay.
Like I say, minor demons, still super dangerous, but not like head of the demon lords.
Exactly.
Like relatively, yeah.
Yeah. So it's why she's not completely freaking out, but she is very concerned.
Yeah.
She's going to tidy everything back up again, make sure it all looks perfect. Okay. Right. Get out of here. Turn back into a cicada.
Okay.
Swoop on out of the door, and then come back.
By now she's on like her 5th or 6th song, and she at the end of the song she stops and she turns to Axel and she goes, "I think it might be time to take a break. What do you think?"
Testing 1 2. Sorry, I had my mute on. Yeah. Let's have a break.
Okay.
And
she turns back and she goes, "We'll be back very soon. Please, don't go anywhere. Have a drink, and make yourselves comfortable. and we'll be back shortly." And she leaves the stage and goes like away, like she's not staying in the room. Like she goes into the back.
can, like, would it be a faux pas for Axel to go with her, like they're having their musicians break?
Does Axel care if it's a faux pas?
Well, he wouldn't just follow her. It'd be like, are we gonna grab a drink or like backstage?
Oh, it's up to you. You can have a drink at the bar if you like. I prefer to just sit quietly for a bit and contemplate the music in my head. But you're welcome to join me if you want.
Cool, because yeah, I'd like to join you
Okay.
and talk a bit about how you do things, because
Absolutely.
that was impressive. He's gonna.
Right.
Would you like a drink? I can get you something.
Oh, something non-alcoholic, like maybe an orange juice.
Coming right up.
Okay. She heads off into the back. Bergamot, do you come downstairs with this information
Yeah, so Bergamot's going to
before
land.
we move on to the Axel and Aralaya thing?
Bergamot's going to land back on her chair and then turn back into herself,
Mhm.
straighten the hat, and a little bit flustered. Go, okay. I found a lesser demon name. It's not the full name.
I found
but
a lesser demon.
Yeah.
Name.
It's not the full name, but it's clearly a way of being able to call the power of this creature. So I have a feeling that she's probably made a pact with this guy who is then using her to feed off of the emotions that she creates.
Yes. Sounds like something I understand.
The issue is that I don't really know how we're going to resolve this. I mean, if it's a demonic pact, you can't just kind of break it.
Meanwhile, while you oh sorry, did you were you
I was just going to say, and killing her seems cruel.
Yeah.
while
She's
you
not
are
doing it on purpose.
thinking about that turn of events, in a back room, Axel brings Aralaya some orange juice. I guess.
He does.
She is sitting on the ground, cross-legged. And she oh, thank you. And she drinks it.
Of that was impressive how you held the room
Oh,
like that.
thank you.
I don't know how to do. I mean, I can hold a crowd, but that was like next level.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say.
Like not wanting to be rude or anything, but like how have you done that? Like you said, you're an up and coming. You said that happened quite quickly, but how did you train to do that? Like,
Oh well.
and he's not like. He's not saying that in he's putting on like he's just like so impressed and wants to like know how, sort of not so much know but like just whoa, tell me,
Well, as artists, we sometimes make choices that we have to make for our art. You understand?
I mean, I've heard of that, but like I've never been presented with a choice.
But you have this guitar. It's clearly got some power. Yes.
Well, it's just a guitar. The power comes from me and how I play, but it is my
So you would be just as good with another guitar.
yeah. This one's just really cool.
Ah. All right.
But like by playing the guitar, that's how I channel my magic.
That's right.
But I'm more. But like I've got to where I am by practicing. It just didn't happen overnight. It sounds like you just like one day
Oh well, nothing
went to the next level. Like you said yourself, quite quickly.
Yes. Well.
And you made a choice to do that, right?
Correct. I was very committed.
Committed to what?
Make just a diplomacy check, please.
Okay. I was ready for that. I'm going to cast Read the Air.
Okay.
So the next time I gain a +1 status to my bonus to my diplomacy check to make an impression on those creatures present.
Okay. She's
So
trying to figure out right now whether how much she can trust you. That's what's going on.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why he's trying to be. He's like, ooh, wow. So that's 24 total diplomacy.
She kind of almost unconsciously like reaches and holds onto the medallion around her neck, and she looks at you and she goes, Askel, I feel that you know what it is like to have music inside you that you simply must let out. But perhaps you don't know what it's like to have that and be unable to make people listen. Do you understand what that's like?
Well, people listen if they want to. I've never really thought about it like that before. Like, I play, people choose whether they listen or not. I haven't thought of it. What do you mean?
What if
I
you
don't
couldn't?
understand.
What if you could not play? What if you had that music, but when you tried to play, it didn't work? It didn't come out right?
That'd be horrible for me.
Right? What would you do to make it come out right?
Practice more? I don't know. This is kind of a. I don't know. Like, it's not really been an issue. So I feel like you're trying to tell me something, but like, is that what you've experienced?
Yes.
You couldn't get your music out?
Yes. Well, I could, but it was mediocre. And no one wants to be mediocre.
So what did you do about it?
I committed myself to a course of action that would allow me to engage with people's feelings and make them really listen. And now people love what I do. And they listen and the music comes out right. You know, when you're on stage and you can tell that they're right there with you. You know, there's that magical feedback. Do you know what I'm talking about? Of course you know what I'm talking about. You're a musician.
He grins.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And now that's always there. Every time I sing. And it comes out right.
Is she still fiddling with the necklace?
She's like holding onto it, yes.
So I don't need a perception to notice that.
No,
right, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, especially since the it was your attention was drawn to it earlier. So
that's pretty interesting. So you've he's trying to make sense of reading in between what she's saying. So you committed to a course of action. Do you want to tell me more about that, or is that the big secret? He knows it's the big secret.
I feel that those who don't understand about what it's like to have that in their head would not understand why I would make the choice I made. I think maybe you understand. Maybe.
That you do almost anything to get your music out? Yeah, totally.
I found something that was able to help me do that.
Is it your necklace?
Not exactly. The necklace is a token.
Right.
But the magic is within me.
I felt that magic. It's similar to things that I can do. But mine is just there.
Well, now mine is just there too.
But how did it get there?
I invited it.
By some form of ritual, or did you meet a person who could offer you that magic?
It came to me and offered itself. And it said that all I had to do was keep singing. And since that's all I want to do, it was a small price.
That's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting way to get there.
You probably think I was cheating.
Oh no, far be it from me. You got to do what you got to do.
The music was there. This just allows me to express it. You know?
Yeah, I know.
So.
Well, second set. How about it?
Yes. Let's. She stands up, tootles off to the stage. Are you joining me for this one too?
No, I think I'll leave you to do your thing. The people want to see you, but it was an absolute honor to play with you.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you. She goes on stage and begins to sing again.
Axel's gonna message everyone in the party with Ixnay of the Akoffe right now, yay. Like he's gonna go let's get out of here. We all need to talk. Like let's go. Discreetly.
Orvis.
Yes.
You do not leave. You cannot leave until she's done. You are compelled to stay and listen.
Yes, Dalia is standing over next to him. I imagine she would notice.
Yeah.
And she'll message Loralai and say, "How did Bergamot feel better? How did she get there?"
All of us is going to go right up to the stage and just
amazing.
I used the only calm emotions preparation I had today.
And I did not take it. Yowza. Okay. We're gonna have to come back for Orvis, I think. After.
You could carry him like a small child, I suppose. But that might cause a racket.
Don't have your guns, girl. I don't think I'm gonna do that.
All right.
If I cast Soothe on, I'm trying to rule of cool here, but if I cast Soothe on Orvis, it gives him a +2 to mental boost. Would he get to like make another save?
He's kind of already in the zone right now.
Okay, so. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think that removes calm emotions removes emotional effects. It's like that's part of the spell. So
try slapping him.
No, well, he's not in any harm.
He's not in
any
immediate danger.
And just say, "Let's wait outside for him."
Yeah, because right now he's just standing there. Yeah, he's not about to walk off a bridge or anything, so we're good unless he leaves.
Until the end of the set, basically. Yeah.
So we'll go outside.
Okay.
Did the mental effect hold while they were having a break?
Yep.
Wow.
There are people crying. It's like it catches hold inside you and just holds on.
Did the person the person or two who, other than Bergamot, I broke it for them, did they make any remarks?
No, they just kind of did that thing where like you've been real emotional and you get over it and you're like,
Oh, okay.
oh gosh, got a handle on myself now. You know.
Okay. So 5 of us go outside.
5 of you go outside.
Can we find like a quiet alleyway?
Quiet spot. I'm sure you could find a quiet spot.
Axel's gonna give a lore dump of his conversation with Loralai.
Oh,
Honey Biscuit will say what he watched to the 3 that weren't at the table. Well, the 2 that weren't at the table.
With this new information, Bergamot, you can make another book nerd check because you've been given more information. Dalia, you have occultism stuff too. You can do it as well.
I am what am I in occultism? I'm a master in occultism.
Yep, you can also do it then. Yes.
24.
24. Yep. What else we got?
23.
17 in occultism.
Bergamot, not that good. You're muted. You're muted.
I use my inspiration to re-roll from a 14 to a 13.
Cool.
Oh.
You don't remember anything new. Dalia and Gertrude, with the various bits of information that have been gleaned by the various people in this party, you and the name Culmoon, you begin to realize that you're dealing with something that is like a crossroads demon kind of thing. This is a musician. It targets artistic people and then uses their creative energy to generate emotion and then essentially feed on that emotion. So it's a parasite basically. It's not deliberately maliciously harmful, but because of its nature, sometimes what it does pushes people to an extreme that causes them to behave in terrible ways. It is very likely that she is essentially possessed by it. It is inside her being. So getting rid of it will be tricky if you don't want to kill her.
Question: does that count? Does possession count as a spell or magical effect?
I think it's technically a magical effect, maybe?
Okay, so if somebody wanted to maybe try, off the top of my head, dispel magic on her, could we just...
You could try, but this would be a fairly high-level magical effect.
And what if somebody was also an exorcist?
Well, now that would be very helpful.
Yes.
Hi. Everyone, I don't actually know anything about occultism, but weirdly, I am an exorcist. So, it's a religious thing? Crazy idea. We could try to exorcise the demon from her being.
Okay.
Well, I'm shit out of other ideas, so that sounds good to me.
It's so funny because I had this all planned out, and then on your last level up, you took, I think, banishment, and I was like, oh, well, this has suddenly gotten a bit easier.
Yeah, if we could somehow
I have taken command. I don't know if I can target the being inside her, but would that be like, I mean, Dalia knows all these funky ass languages like abyssal, which would she know what a demon?
It's
She's
usually
like
infernal.
Infernal. So if I spoke the spell in infernal, so that's what I'm saying. I could say it in the language of demons and command it like, get the fuck out of her, or something like that.
How does your exorcism thing work, Loralai?
Well, it's as you know, the text is different from what the title might imply. Basically,
Pathfinder.
Yeah. So I am technically an exorcist. What that means is like I can gather spirits from environments and haunts and incorporeal undead and stuff like that. But I feel like as an exorcist, combining it with spell slots and stuff like that, we could probably mumbo jumbo our way into removing a demon from a lady.
Sure. Okay. Yep. So we're gonna be rule of cooling this a little bit.
Only if you want, because exorcism plus dispel like that's what I'm thinking of.
Yep. Plus command. I can see how you could potentially. I mean, there will be some rolls, but sure.
Of course. Of course.
Axel's gonna say, like, do we need like a young priest and an old priest or something?
I am young and you are old, Axel. That is all we need.
But is she
Spooky
gonna
and the
be,
Bandit.
is she going to be okay with this? I mean, if she wanted this power, she's not really going to be happy to just get rid of it.
Yeah, well, is she happy that people are going into the ocean?
I mean,
Does she know?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's probably something we should bear in mind.
Should we all just wait for her in her room?
But
That was a serious question, and you are all looking at me like that was blasphemy.
I honestly don't know.
I feel like Gertrude just asked a very important question. I'm just gonna put that out there.
What question?
If she knows that people are having these reactions.
It didn't sound to me like she knew. She just wants to sing, and the only price she thinks she's paying is that she has to sing.
That is in fact what she said.
So we have Askel go and talk to her, tell her the stuff that's happening, and then we try and do a sort of ritual thing to remove this demon from her.
and then I think I would offer her something in the form of like musical tuition, or she can, like, so that she can actually sing and practice and get better naturally like normal people do.
Here's a 50% coupon for the nearest teacher.
Well, like, she needs to be not near the sea. That's the only thing.
You
She
think
said that.
Perhaps her problem is stage fright?
I actually just think she's not very good.
Oh.
But
and
like,
just points out that time is marching and we need to get this wrapped. So.
Like, if she can see the error of her ways, I might be able to convince her that there is, if we got rid of this demon and stopped hurting people, and she actually put in the time that it takes to become good, rather than just selling your soul for rock and roll. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's what we try, and then hopefully she's willing, and then we don't have to kill her.
I mean, if she's not willing, we could just restrain her and take her upstairs and do the ritual against her will.
That should be a last resort, but yes.
Yeah.
I will say that, Axel, while you got the impression that this woman is extremely intense, and very focused on this idea of being a singer and not just an exceptional singer, you did not get the sense that she's actively evil. Like, intense, yes, but not,
So he would have a good inkling that he might be able to actually reason with her.
Potentially, depending on how.
How good my diplomacy checks are.
Well,
okay.
All right.
Do you think that you could talk with her after the show, like in her room, or if you had a room, like where would this conversation take place, so that we could be waiting in the wings for you?
Well, there was quite a pleasant little area backstage, but we could go to her room if she would invite me in. I could suggest that for sure. Somewhere quieter. Definitely not in front of all these people.
We can just wait downstairs and see where they go, and then wait for the message.
Okay, let's go. Break.
Okay.
Right.
So you all go back inside. She finishes her set. It's amazing.
Woo!
Orvis, make another will save at the end of her set, please.
Axel's ready with another counter performance in case that is needed.
14.
Roll it again.
Roll it again because of counter performance.
Come on.
$23.
Okay, so the set ends, and for you, the effects do not linger after the end of the performance.
Yay. Someone fill him in.
Oh, someone's beeping.
Oh,
Thank you.
my wife just set off the smoke
Dalia
alarm.
will take Orvis aside and fill him
Just
Okay,
in.
as ready.
fill 'em in. Cool. Orvis, consider yourself filled in on everything that has happened thus far.
Awesome.
Alright.
Axel will try and get alongside Aralaya,
Mhm.
and say, I'd like to speak to you somewhere private. I think
Oh.
I have a proposition for you.
Oh, all right. I still can't go to Elder Castle.
No, it's.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I'm not going to push that on you. I understand you need to be by the sea, but yeah, I've got a proposition for you.
All right. Well, we can go back into the back room.
What about your room?
You want to come up to my room?
Yes, I'm happy to bring one of my colleagues with you. So it's above board.
I'm not concerned.
Okay.
All right.
Just I have that effect on people sometimes.
I'm sure you do. She takes you upstairs.
For a start,
Yes.
great performance, but
Thank you.
I'm going to level with you. We're not just here representing Elder Castle. We actually heard, that some other things are happening as a side effect to your performances, and I was wondering if you were aware of them. People are being hurt, their lives are being upset, they're being ruined. Someone walked into the sea and hasn't been seen since.
Oh.
And that's kind of concerning because, musicians, we get a bad enough rap sometimes for being a bit, like musicians are, blurred lines of morality and things like that. Not me, I'm completely above board, but it's just
I'm sorry, I need to walked into the sea.
Yeah, this lady, she saw your performance and then she went down to the docks and just walked into the sea and hasn't been seen since, presumably drowned.
She was not Undine.
Not according to the reports that I was given, but there's also cases of, people giving up their lifelong businesses to follow, fanciful things, and it seems that whatever I'm not saying it's you're doing it intentionally, but whatever your agreement with whomever is affecting people's lives adversely, and I wondered how that would sit with you and whether that's worth it to you for your musical gift.
How do we know that it has anything at all to do with me? Some
Well,
people just go to the sea because it's the sea. It's nice.
Yeah, but the reports that we've been given are all that they're right after seeing your show, and it seems like your music is affecting these people, or something to that, and it's a bit concerning because, as much as music is awesome and it needs to be out there, it shouldn't be hurting people or ruining people's lives. I don't think that's worth it.
No intention of hurting anybody. I just want to sing. Axel, make a perception check.
Okay. 23.
Her necklace has begun to glow.
Ah, shit. He's gonna message Loralai. The necklace is glowing.
I don't think that I'm hurting anybody. I'm just singing. That's all I've ever wanted, was to sing and make people feel things. And now
they're
you're
feeling
telling me that it
things.
hurts people? I don't think that's fair at all. Lorelai, yes.
Yeah, it's that I don't know, 20 or so seconds. I am already moving to go upstairs.
Okay.
I am on the move, and I didn't say anything to anybody, but I feel like
Yeah,
these guys know Loralai well enough that like, oh,
they're following. Okay.
Okay.
She's getting really quite agitated. Like, yeah.
Would you give up your gift to stop hurting people?
I am not hurting anybody. I'm just doing what I've always wanted to do. If people then decide that they must become whatever artists or walk into the sea or whatever it is that is happening, that is their choice. That is not something I'm doing to them. I'm genuinely, I thought you understood me, Axel.
I do, but I also understand that that is not your intent, but it is a side effect of what's happening. Like that, those aren't the same thing. You should be able to sing, but I think, is it worth it to sing to hurt people? If your singing hurts people, whether you intend it or not.
I would say the rest of you are now at the door.
we are outside.
She starts to cry.
Oh, that's
She
awkward.
doesn't say anything. She's just weeping. And she says, again, I'm not hurting anybody. I am singing, and I must keep singing.
You're not hurting people, but your singing is hurting people. Axel says like he, not in a combative way or anything. He's like compassionate. Like he's thinking like if he found out that his playing, you know, he gets it. He's like,
Can you make a diplomacy check for me, please?
Go.
25.
It's not bad.
The vibe you are getting from her right now is that the words she is saying are not the reason she's crying. That there's a disconnect, that she is speaking something that is being imposed on her.
I have friends. They're probably nearby. They could help you if you're willing.
I do not need help. I do not need help.
So Axel's got the impression this isn't her talking anymore, right?
There's a fight going on.
Yeah, the help was her.
He's gonna message Loralai, go.
I am here if the door is unlocked. I try the door.
The door is probably unlocked.
Hello.
This is my friend Loralai. She's a cleric. She can help.
When you say the word cleric, she takes like 3 steps back.
Dalia's right behind her.
Is it better if you knew it was to death?
She turns to you and her voice says, "Go away." And it's really like strong. And up to now she's been real soft spoken and it's like, "Go away." But there's something in her eyes. Like, again, there's conflict happening here. What are you doing?
That's a bad sign.
I look at Axel for the go ahead.
He doesn't have any idea what your magic is, so he's like, when he said go, he's like, he's out of ideas. He's gleaned from her that she wants help, and so.
Okay, I will approach her, and I am going to use my dispel magic, and I'm going to, if you allow it, I'm going to infuse it with my exorcism dedication, which is something I can do once a day, and kind of expend that use as well to kind of wrap both together and try to expel something out of her.
Okay.
As flavor for the dispel magic.
Okay. Askel, do you wish to add something to this?
If she tries to bolt, I have a thing.
Okay.
All
right. Dalia, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, so Loralai and I had kind of coordinated. So she's going to cast command, and in Infernal, as Devil Rat said, Infernal, she's going to say, Calnoon, get out of her.
Okay. Command has a save.
DC 25. Let me see what kind it is.
Probably will.
Will save.
I would assume so, yeah. Okay. That's a nat 20. However, Loralai, can you please roll me an occultism check?
Due to this being my religion, could I tempt you to a religion check?
Sure. I will allow it because you're using your exorcism.
Yes. Come on,
23.
baby.
23.
Do you have inspiration?
I do.
How many times can you do this?
But I can only do it once, but if I can... Does inspiration doesn't use my spell more than once, right?
No.
Inspiration
is a reroll.
I'm going to reroll.
Okay.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Do it.
Natural 20.
Oh!
Yes!
Okay. 39.
So, this is what happens. Dalia, you feel your command being utterly rejected. Like, it's almost physical. It's like, fuck you. Loralai, there is a moment where the magic is resisted. And you really are not sure this is going to work. And there's something in her eyes that is like pleading and terrified. And then you push a little harder and it wraps around something and pulls it out of her. And you all see it's like a shining light of blue that comes out of her chest. And then it transforms, and what you see is like it's like a woman body and a snake tail. It's like a serpentine kind of being.
A naga.
And Aralaya just drops to the ground. And this thing turns on you immediately, Loralai.
Yep.
And it hisses at you in Infernal. You speak Infernal?
I have no idea what she is saying.
Okay. Dalia speaks Infernal. It turns on her and it says, fucking clerics, always getting in the way. I will eat you. And it goes for you, Loralai. And it is going to make an attack.
Yeah.
Can I cast my thing? If it's moving?
It's not running away. It's attacking.
Yeah. But I said if it bolted, like it's moving and aggressing. Can I drop my spell?
What is your spell?
My spell is Phantom Prison. It needs to make a will save.
Okay, it's really good at those.
I would like to also use Lose the Path, which is a reaction to when they move, which will essentially, if they fail, they just don't move in the right direction.
What's your DC, Will?
What's your roll?
40.
40.
Ooh.
Let's just say that that's well above the DC.
Cool.
Nothing happens.
It's very willful. This creature is very willful indeed.
Continue attacking the cleric.
Cool. It is going. Oh crap! I had an attack already, and then I had to go and do saves. Loralai, I need a reflex save from you.
Oh, okay.
As it slashes at you with its claws that become multiple claws and like turn into this like whirling dervish of claws going at you.
29.
29 does not succeed. You'll better kill this thing fucking fast. That's all I'm saying. Or remove it. Oh, how do I do this? There. You take. Oi, give me the thing. There we go. 42 points of force damage.
42.
We're all gonna die.
I mean, it's leading with its worst shit because it's really pissed off. How do you respond? Or do we need to roll initiative?
Well, actually, I, as a reaction, cast Schadenfreude.
Okay.
So it's unfortunately, because all of my spells are, it is a will save.
Oh dear.
That's a natural one.
That will count as a critical failure,
Correct.
which means she is currently lost in her amusement of me. She is
Okay.
stupefied 2 and for 1 round and stunned 1.
Okay. Do you have a way of getting rid of it quickly, or do we need to roll initiative?
Well, I don't know if frightened and stunned will affect her will saves.
I believe that. Please hold. Stunned.
Sorry, stupefied and
Stupefied.
stunned.
Stupefied reduces intelligence, wisdom, and charisma based on the
Correct.
number.
So yes. So stupefied, how much?
Stupefied 2 and stunned 1.
Okay. Cool.
So if nobody has anything, I have banishment.
Do it.
Again, it's a goddamn will save, but
I mean, they have a negative to it now, so.
Go.
so will save.
On.
Is it not? I don't think it's changed it. Hang on. I thought I had. It's fine. I'll just. Got to do the maths. Please hold. What's your DC?
What'd you roll? It's a 27.
26.
Oh!
Yes! Yes!
Fucking hell. It's got such goodwill. Okay. So it is banished.
If you didn't roll that natural 1 on fucking Schadenfreude, I think. Oh.
Yeah. If
okay.
that were the case, it could not fail. That will.
Oh wow!
Bergamot's gonna go
I
and
know
like.
it could, but it small one.
Question.
Yes.
Oh, it was just a failure. It was just a failure. So
Yes.
she is banished.
Yes. So the creature goes at Loralai. Loralai just is like, fuck off. She's gone. Aralaya is lying unconscious on the floor right now. BT dubs.
Bergamot's
wants
gonna
to
go
do
over
that?
and just kind of pick her up a little bit and like try and wake her up.
She doesn't just wake up.
Oh dear.
Can I try casting Soothe?
Does Soothe fix unconsciousness?
I mean, it heals, so that's why I was saying.
All right. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Okay.
She cannot make a will save. She is unconscious.
All right. Yes. Okay. Why isn't it giving me a roll thing? Sorry.
I assume banishment works much the same as in D&D. I haven't looked at the Pathfinder version. If it's from another plane, it just goes there and stays.
Are you trying to cast Soothe, Gertie?
Yes.
It has to be a willing creature.
Oh, she's unconscious. She cannot be willing.
So
Okay.
I've got health potions. Does that work?
Bergamot's just gonna slap her with a heel. Not actually slap her, but just.
We start fixing the singer. I need to know about banishment.
I send the target back to its home plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just says
it's gone then because it's a fiend. It does not belong to this plane.
Yeah.
All right. So if you put a healing potion in her, she does wake up.
It's a heal, but yeah.
Whatever.
13 points of healing.
She kind of, her eyelids flutter and she sits up and she goes, "Oh my goodness. What happened? Who are you people?"
I'm very good.
Nobody.
Oh,
We're
good. She doesn't
nobody.
remember us.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Oh, I remember something. You, she points at Askel, you play excellent guitar.
And you sing like a demon.
Goodness, thank you, I think. Is that a compliment? I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a compliment after what yeah. I think I've got some bad news. You're gonna have to start at the beginning, darling.
The beginning of what, exactly?
Can you sing something?
She sings, and it's fine. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You might find it a bit harder than you used to sing and captivate people, but there are ways of doing it, and it's practice. Not letting creatures from other worlds take up residence inside you.
It's good.
Oh. You kind of see it come back to her, and she's like, "Oh shit, that was maybe not the best choice I've ever made."
And I'd probably take your necklace and go throw it into the ocean, or destroy it.
Probably
Dalia
not
took
the
her
ocean, because that's where she likes to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did Dalia?
So hang on, Dalia, what?
I've said a couple times that I got talked over.
Alright,
I took
sorry.
the necklace when she was unconscious.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. She does this, and she's like, "It's gone," but also it's gone. Oh, that's going to be a problem. I think I should thank you. Maybe? She's very confused. Like she hasn't fully understood what's happened.
We should go check on people in the bar and see if they're, coming out of it, if that had an effect.
Yeah, good day.
yeah. We're staying tonight over at the Golden Goose. If you want to talk more about it at a later stage, but we should probably leave you be for now.
Okay. Okay.
Axel's GTFO.
All right.
That was enough weird shit for one day.
Fair enough. So you leave a very confused Aralaya Moonsong in her room. Sans demon. Dalia, what are you doing with that necklace?
She's just gonna put it in a bag. Like she doesn't really want to touch it. Just like mage hand, took it off, put it in her bag.
All right.
Figure it out later, and then just kind of do a vibe check of the room and see if people are still crying and super emotional.
A couple of them are, but it feels more natural now. It's like they're coming back from an emotional place rather than having it imposed on them. So we're running out of time, so I'm gonna do some fast forwardy now. You return to the Golden Goose. Before you even you walk in the door and Meg looks up and she goes, "Well, seems you did the thing, because I've forgotten her name, Jossa. She has sent the message that I'm to pay you. I guess her husband came right." So good job. Did you kill the singer?
No, she's alive and well.
Cool.
Maybe a little less talented than she was previously.
Well,
It's the nature of these things.
But weird thing, maybe you should tell Miss Ray that I think that maybe her husband was wanting to paint a little bit in the back of his mind. So maybe on his days off he should continue the hobby. Because the feelings did not come out of nowhere.
right.
They were inside
Forgive
everybody
me,
all along.
But I'm not going to start telling the Rays what to do.
Well, maybe he will come around.
That's a problem for them to figure out between them. That seems like a marriage problem, not a me problem. Not solving that one.
Yeah, well.
Interesting, though. He doesn't seem like a painter type, but, takes all kinds. Anyway, she pays you. And you have a wonderful time in Merterra, which we will do in the Discord because Jamie needs to go. So, you have successfully exorcised the terrible demon from Aralaya Moonsong by some fucking lucky rolls, which is awesome.
Dice tell the story.
So, yeah. So, congrats. You are super flush with cash now and in a brand new city full of
shopping,
and you're in a tavern that definitely is not full of thieves and rascals. Sure, that's gonna go great. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for sticking with us and for watching this awesome story. This is one that I've been very excited to tell, so I'm grateful that we got to do it. And yeah, next week you can tune in for some vampires, Vampire the Masquerade, and the week after that we will be playing The Lumberjack's Revenge. And yeah, you should do that too. Also, join the Discord, subscribe to the things, do all the stuff.
Yeah, City in Yellow. City in Yellow.
No, that's not next week though. That's the week after. I believe. Yeah.
2 weeks time.
2 weeks time. Will be City in Yellow. Thank you all for playing this crazy game with me. It's a joy, and thank you everyone for watching. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a beautiful time zone. We love you. Bye-bye.